All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Jon and Jim. It is a Padres off day, so expect hell to break loose at some point over the next 4 hours. We'll be joined by Alex Faust. He's calling tomorrow's game on Apple TV. Padres in Arizona against the Diamondbacks for the first time this year. He'll join us at 2:30. Ryan Harrington is the managing editor of Golf Digest. He's at Oakmont, where the U.S. Open is well underway. He will join us coming up at 3 p.m. But, Jim, we continue to react to yesterday as we look ahead as well to this weekend series and then what's to come next week when the Padres play at Dodger Stadium. Opportunity squandered, as we said yesterday. We probably reacted for a couple of hours yesterday. We heard some players post-game. Manny Machado, I know, spoke with the media. Gavin Sheets did as well. The general sentiment is like, we're playing good baseball. Offense has come to life. We're playing good baseball. It's been a nice little stretch here. But then you kind of look inside the numbers like, well, they scored for a couple of games against LA, but since the start that we always talk about, that 14-3 start, this team's actually 2 games under 500. And even more recently, it's 1 win, 1 loss. It's like 7 wins, 6 losses, 8 wins, 8 losses. That's what they've done here over the last few weeks.
Hold on. Why are you burying the lead?
What's the lead?
You know what the lead is.
What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about cards? Do you want to talk cards?
Fernando Tatis Jr.'s slump might be coming to an end because of what happened this afternoon.
Or deepening.
Deepening?
Like his slump might be getting more severe.
Yeah, we might have, you might have just ended up ruining his career with what happened this afternoon. So tell everybody. Hopefully your wife's not listening. Tell everybody what happened.
She's probably not.
What, last week?
Okay, so we've both been using like this. Honestly, it's a problem. We've been using this app where you can like buy cards on auction in like 10-second increments. You just buy, bid, buy, sell. Well, I don't even know what's happening.
You buy a card for like $2 and you're like
30 cents or
worth like $30
or $3,000. But in this app, they also have this little giveaway button within each channel. You just hit the button and every once in a while you get lucky and win a giveaway. And I don't know what the odds are, but like, you enter 100 giveaways, maybe you win one. So I entered a couple of giveaways and I hit one, but I didn't know what I won. So then we got something in the mail today. And by we, I mean me. Well, two things. First of all, I brought some cards home yesterday.
Oh, yes.
But I didn't show Kristen. I just opened them like,
yeah.
Like she was like, I don't know, watching Dateline. I just like opened 2 packs of cards. You know what I mean?
Did you like have to go to the bathroom?
I'm like yeah, I really got to, man, my stomach's killing me.
I got to go to the bathroom. And meanwhile, you're opening cards in the bathroom because you don't want your wife to see.
I'm not doing anything wrong, am I? I mean, it's not like we're like doing drugs.
Keep telling yourself
I
that.
opened a couple of packs of cards and then listen to this. But this is so my wife. She knows where everything is at all times. I'll be like, where is the sunflower seed peanut butter? And she's like, back left pantry mid row. I'm like, like she knows everything.
I do that with Erin all the time. And a lot of times she'll look at me and be like, Jim, you know where this is. And then I have to sit there and think about it. And then she finally tells me.
she's like, you know where Jones's like lunchbox is? I'm like, I have no idea.
Like, I don't know. I am completely lost without you.
Is that an actual thing?
I think sunflower seed butter is a real thing for people that are allergic to peanut butter. Like I think kids bring it to school because they're not allowed to have like, if there's like a nut allergy.
Okay. I didn't know if it's real or you just took
it's actually real.
It's
actually real. But anyway, so I bought a couple of cards and I put like an envelope in the trash. And Kristen this morning was like, don't think I don't know that you like bought a pack of cards. I'm like, okay. Like,
caught you red-handed there, buddy.
Again, I'm not.
Right, we know you're not doing drugs. You're not doing anything illegal.
It's a pack of cards.
It is a pack of cards.
She knows everything.
Oh, I know she knows
everything. Wife. Yeah. But anyway, I had a couple of cards sent. Oh, this giveaway I won was sent to the office. So we take a look at what it was.
As is all your cards that you are now buying.
So yeah, but it's not even that good of an idea because Kristen watches the stream and then she knows everything I do. So the 2 things that they sent me in the mail.
These are free.
Random, like
completely free.
Completely free.
Yeah.
Was a Jameson Williams rookie card for the Lions.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. And how about this? Fernando Tatis Jr. rookie.
Ooh.
Fernando Tatis Jr. rookie.
Look at that, baby.
If you're watching on the stream. So does that mean everything is fine and this team that lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers all of a sudden is going to win 3 out of 4 in LA next week because we got the Tatis rookie? Is this going to save Tatis' season? He needs something to save his season right now.
And these giveaways were at complete random. You had no idea what you were getting, right?
I had no idea.
Okay.
I mean, maybe they were on screen, but I had no idea that this is what I won.
Well, I look at that as a good omen for just Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, I think so. And for John Schaefer.
Mostly for Fernando Tatis Jr.
That too. That too.
So you got a Tatis 2019 rookie card, which you won off a giveaway.
Right.
Now you've already bought one Fernando Tatis rookie card, right?
Yeah, that's the one I think we ended up putting in Rice.
Yeah.
Or was that Jackson Merrill?
No, it was Jackson
Merrill. He
Merrill.
wasn't hitting. Because we asked ChatGPT, what do we do? This player's slumping. What do we do with the card? And it even suggested burying the card in the outfield of Petco. Like, how do we even do that?
But you got the Tatis card that you bought right around the start of May, right?
It started the slump.
Yes.
Like, this guy was an MVP candidate. Then I bought the card. And since then, he's been like quad A.
So what I'm hoping for is this giveaway that you got kind of just like canceled that out.
A double negative.
It's reversing what you ended up doing, which was basically ruining his career by buying his rookie card.
I love that.
And now this other rookie card that you got is now going to be like a double negative, and boom, he's back to Fernando Tatis Jr.
I really do like that because he needs something, and so does this offense right now. I mean, they really do. And you might say, well, John, they scored 11 runs against the Dodgers 2 days ago. What are you talking about? I mean, if we're going to be honest, the Dodgers, we've talked about this for 48 hours, but the Dodgers didn't exactly treat that game like it was Game 7 of the World Series. No matter what we think about it, that was not, for example, yesterday they used 8 relievers in 9 innings. That's not what they did 2 days ago when they let Matt Sauer wear it and throw 111 pitches, and then Kike Hernandez was on the mound. So you'll take the 11 runs. I credit the Padres for doing it, but I don't think it was their most impressive performance of the year offensively. Game 1, I give them credit. They kind of bounced back. They looked like their old selves.
They did not play a good game in Game 1, though.
But offensively, they scored 7 runs.
Okay.
So that was encouraging what we saw offensively. But I think the numbers are the numbers. We went through it yesterday. We said in terms of power and slug, this team is not it. I mean, this is a bottom 5 slug team in baseball. I'm saying that. I don't know if it's true. Just in watching them, I'm going to look it up. Is this not a bottom? It's certainly a bottom 10 slug team in baseball, is it not, based on the eye test?
Well, we got some numbers that we're going to share later in the show that illustrate just how bad this offense has been. And it's been really bad over the last month and month plus. It's been awful.
How about this? So I did look it up. I said they're bottom 5 in slug, just eye test. They're 23rd.
Yes.
So, I mean, they've really... You have it in the rundown?
I have it in the rundown for 3 p.m. or 3:30.
Well, whatever. This is just off the cuff.
We're just going right to 3:15.
This is off the top of my head. I didn't even see this. I didn't even look at this. This is from Kyle Glaser. Let me look at it. I'm going to go to 3:15. Let me just see it. Who cares? We can talk about it twice.
Well, screw the rundown.
Forget the rundown. Listen to this.
I have a rundown set for 3:15, but let's just start with it at 2:00.
I just think it's funny. Like, this is the first, like, you've never looked at the rundown and something he played. Like, what?
Why would I ever expect there to be something of significance in the rundown?
I told you before the show, hey, I took care of the rundown today.
But I didn't expect something good. So this is very good.
I told you about
this. This is very good. I wasn't listening.
Oh, my God.
Let's just do it. Who cares? Padres offense over the last month. This is something I just came up with.
But here's the thing. Let me just take you out of the scene. Like, if we do it 3:15 in the rundown now, then what are we doing at 3:15? We
have an hour to figure that out.
Okay, fine.
We can talk about 3:15. How many of our listeners right now are going to be with us at 3:15? Raise your hand.
When they're in their cars.
They say, Mary says, our PD or even Brian Long would say that the average listener's there between 5 and 15 minutes.
I have an idea. Let's do it every other segment.
Right, to prove that point.
So we can make sure that our listeners have heard this.
Here, you read it. You found it, but you read it. Because it's where we should start the show. This is the lead. The Padres offense is the lead. Why is your computer so slow?
Because it was made in 1930.
Jeez. You can read it.
All right. Their batting average over the last month is .219. That's tied for 29th in baseball. Now, there's only 30 teams, so that's not good.
This is with the great Dodger series.
Their on-base percentage as a team is .287. That's last in baseball. Their slugging percentage, .331. That's last in baseball. Their OPS, .618. Guess what, John? That's last in baseball.
First.
Runs per game, 3.5. Tied for 26th in baseball. And home runs per game over the last month, .72. That's 29th in baseball.
Not worse. You know the question I would ask after hearing that?
What?
How do they fix this? Thank you, Kyle Glazer, who actually wrote that tweet. You know how they fix it? There's two things. And it's not just go out of left fielder. That's not left fielder away from being good. That's Tatis away from being good. That's Merrill away from being good. That's Arraez, by the way. I tried to get Dan Zimborski on the show today from Fangraphs. Hopefully we'll get him at some point, maybe tomorrow. He just wrote an article about the spiral of Luis Arraez. So this isn't a left fielder away. This is a Tatis, Merrill, Arraez, Sheets away, right?
Well, internally, yeah, these guys they have need to step it up because getting a bat in here and going out and trading for a bat, you're right. It's not going to fix these problems. It's not all of a sudden like they're going to go out and get Taylor Ward and boom, they're back to a top 10 offense.
Right.
If Tatis is struggling and Arraez is struggling and Merrill and Sheets and Xander, if those guys that I just named aren't hitting, you can bring in Taylor Ward. It's not going to help much. Might help a little, but it's not going to help the other guys in the lineup if they're continuing to struggle. If those guys are continuing to struggle, this offense is still going to be a bottom offense in baseball.
Right.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at someone in the chat that says Jim is muted. But I don't think you are. Is Jim muted?
Am I muted?
If so, congratulations.
Hello?
No, you're not muted.
I'm fine.
You're not muted.
Bro, come on, man.
He put in the chat.
E-breaking the show.
Me or James?
Everything.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I want to talk more about this on the other side because, again, yes, they need upgrades. Offensively, there's no question about it, but they need upgrades internally, and there's no question about that. And this difficult stretch continues. They'll be on the road in Arizona this weekend. We'll talk to Alex Faust, who's on the call for Apple TV tomorrow. So he will join us coming up at 2:30. In addition, we're going to talk to Ryan Harrington. He covers the U.S. Open for Golf Digest. He's the managing editor. He's at Oakmont. He'll join us coming up at 3 p.m. But much more on the Padres scuffling offense on the other side. We're here until 6 p.m. Great giveaway for you today as well. Don't go anywhere. Just underway. Stay with us. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, there's an all-new iHeartRadio app. Make sure to download it. When you do it, put San Diego Sports 760 in your presets. You can listen live to the show weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. You can also put Jon and Jim in your presets. When you do that, you can listen back to any hour or interview of the show. Make sure to check it out on the all-new iHeartRadio app. Alex Faust will join us coming up in about 10 minutes. He'll call Padres Diamondbacks tomorrow on Apple TV+. And then at 3 p.m., Ryan Harrington will join us from Golf Digest because the U.S. Open is underway. So, again, coming off the Dodgers series, Jim, we spent 2 hours on the takeaways. I mean, the takeaways are the Padres squandered opportunities. It wasn't solely because of their offensive numbers we just read for the last month. That's not really what did them in solely. But you're going to Arizona. Diamondbacks have been good enough. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're 500 overall. Padres have not historically played perfectly in that building. And then you're going to Dodger Stadium. I mean, this is as big of a test as you're getting. 7 straight games on the road against Arizona and LA.
I'm glad the team thinks they're playing well because a lot of players yesterday after the game, and you heard this.
Yeah, I heard Manny say it.
Manny, Gavin Sheets, they were like, man, we playing some really good baseball. Okay. Huh?
Like, have you?
They've been playing okay.
Right.
They've been keeping their head above water. They've not nosedived as a team with their win-loss record.
Mm-hmm.
They've, after their 6-game losing streak, have been fine. I don't know if I would, describe this as really good baseball, though, according to Gavin Sheets and Manny Machado. That's just me. I watched every one of these games, and there's been a lot of games where they have some serious miscues, and offensively they are, as we just read the numbers, really bad. Yes, they've led in every single one of these games over the last 2 weeks, but guess what? It
doesn't really matter.
They don't have a record for we led this game. It's about wins and losses, and did you win the game or lose the game? That's all that matters.
Right. You know who's played good baseball is the San Francisco Giants. Okay, like the Padres are 5-5 in their last 10 games. They win one, they lose one. That's been who they've been basically since their 14-3 start, right? Because they're under 500 since their 14-3 start. Meanwhile, San Francisco's won 7 consecutive games and is winning today. Now, I know they're playing the Rockies, but that would be an 8 straight win. They'd move 2 games ahead of the Padres. I'm not overly concerned about the standings, but if you want to talk about teams playing well, I think you would start with a team like the San Francisco Giants. You want to talk about teams playing well, you'd look at a team like Arizona. That's 7-3 in their last 10 games. So I think the Padres, to your point, they've kept their head above water. They're not in a position where it's like time to worry or be overly concerned, or they've got all this work to do to put themselves in the playoff spot. That's not the case. But then again, all their work is still in front of them. I mean, they haven't separated themselves from really anyone when it comes to like the playoff race. I guess none of these teams have. I mean, it's not like the Dodgers have punched their ticket as of yet. It's not like even a team like the Cubs or even the Mets to this point have yet punched their ticket. But yeah, the Padres are in a position where they were a lot worse off a year ago, but there's still a ton of work to do considering the overall strength of the National League in 2025.
Yeah, they are not at the Dodgers level. They are going to be competing with the Giants and the D-backs and the other teams in the National League. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to prove that they can beat the Dodgers if they want to have a chance to win the division. Now, there will be a very good opportunity for them if they stay close, where you're not facing the Dodgers in September. So then basically you'll just be rooting for everybody against the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. And so then you won't have an opportunity to go out there and take care of business yourself against a team that will probably be, right above you or right there with you in the standings.
Right.
But they still have to prove it. And right now, their offense is just like light years away from where it needs to be. And where it needs to be is not 30th in baseball in all these key categories. It needs to be closer to like 15th. If their offense was 15th in baseball, all the numbers we read there at the beginning of the show, if their offense was just like middle of the pack for the last month, you could easily add 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 wins to their record.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, here's another thing that I just kind of stumbled into. Remember a year ago, I want to say the Padres a year ago were really good against good teams. Like they had a good record against teams that were over 500. They had a better record than they won the head-to-head series against the Dodgers. For example, a year ago, the Padres against teams over 500 this year have really struggled. The Padres are 16-20 against teams that are over 500. 17th best record in the sport against teams over 500. Of course, those are the teams you're going to play if and when you get to the postseason here in 2025. So the funny thing is, a year ago, they were not in as good of a spot right now. There were more question marks probably a year ago about the Padres than there are today. But the way they finished last year, they answered all those questions. Mm-hmm. And even with this record of 9 games over 500, I feel like there are so many questions about the Padres, not just the offense. Michael King, Yu Darvish, the sustainability of the usage of their bullpen, the way they've taxed this bullpen. Yeah. And then, like, are the Vasquez, Kolick, Berger rotation pieces going to hold up even in the short term, let alone the long term if you need it? So
they've held up, I think.
They have to this point. They absolutely have to this point. Will they continue to? And the fact that they're 9 games over 500, some of it is almost head scratching. Truthfully, you talk about some of these numbers, it's a little bit surprising they're 9 games over 500 with some of these struggles.
Well, they're what, 3 games, 2 games under, 2 games under since their 14-3 start.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to take away their 14-3 start because that counts.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they're a under 500 baseball team right now in the last for a majority of this season.
Yeah, for a majority of the year. Yeah.
So I'm. Don't get me wrong. I am Mr. If you start fast, that could carry you for a while, guy. And they did, and it's been carrying them. And we're in the middle of June now, but you got to make sure that these problems get addressed because it's not the start of the year. We're in June, and these things are becoming trends now. These aren't just like, oh, it's fine. It's the start of the year problems. You know, they'll be fine. It's like, we're in June 12th.
Right.
And their offense has been awful for over a month. Fernando Tatis Jr. is hitting under 200 the last month. Luis Arraez, who we'll talk about, has just nosedived. Jackson Merrill has been good, but not great. Gavin Sheets, he's fallen off big time. Their catchers, they're nothing to write home about. Left field is a joke. You know, like they have no bench. They have no right-handed bat off the bench. They are 2 left-handed, in their lineup. They are a team that is right now benefiting from their hot start instead of taking that hot start and slowly adding to that, each month right now. Instead, it's like they're just kind of keeping their head above water.
Yeah, I wasn't overly encouraged by what I saw this week against the Dodgers, even though there were bright spots like Dylan Cease or the offense in the first 2 games, because you're not seeing a Dodger team that's anywhere near full strength. So when you get the Dodgers at home and they're a bit wounded and you lose 2 out of 3 and they're their self-inflicted wounds, I don't come away from that series looking at the Padres and saying they're evenly matched right now with LA. And by the way, to your point on Tatis, in his last 36 games since the 1st of May, he has hit 188. We'll talk to Alex Faust. He's calling the game tomorrow night, Padres Diamondbacks on Apple TV. He'll join us next. Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest at 3 p.m. We're here until 6. Don't go anywhere. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Padres, coming off a series loss to the Dodgers, have an off day today. They start a 7-game road trip tomorrow night. First up, they will travel to Arizona to take on the D-backs for a 3-game series. And last night, Game 3 of the NBA Finals went to the Pacers. Pacers now have a 2-1 lead. Game 4 will be tomorrow night in Indy. Straight Talk might not be on your shopping list, but it should be. Next time you're grabbing some milk off the shelf at your local Walmart, stop by the Straight Talk aisle and switch to real unlimited data. It's quick and convenient and won't even take up room in your cart.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, Padres off day. They've got Arizona tomorrow. You can watch it on Apple TV. Friday Night Baseball, and Alex Faust will be on the call, and he's joining us right now here on San Diego Sports 760. So, Alex, we appreciate you taking time for us here in San Diego. I guess just the 30,000-foot view of the NL West. It's been so competitive, right? I mean, even an Arizona team, they've played well. They're 500. Obviously, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. The Padres have played well. The Giants are playing so well. What do you make of this division right now? And thanks for hopping on.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be on with you guys. I think it really, even with that 3-game series of the Dodgers and the Padres, I think it was an example that it's still pretty close. But the biggest surprise, and maybe we shouldn't be surprised given what they did in the offseason, was how strong the Giants are. It's one thing to come out of the gate hot, but it seems like they've turned a corner from what was kind of a stale roster and kind of a stale situation there. That to me is the biggest surprise. And the question, I guess, for them is, do they have the staying power? Because I think we all expected it to be, if it was going to be a 2-horse race, it would have been between the Padres and the Giants, or between the Padres and the Dodgers, I should say. But it's still competitive. It's still compelling.
Yeah, and it's not just this division. I mean, the National League, I think it's superior to the American League, just as far as overall teams that are in competition here. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, totally agree with that. And part of what's driving the NL West as well, we have to remember, is the math involved with how bad the Rockies are and how teams are going to continue to beat up on them. It happened, remember, the last couple of years in the AL Central, and everybody's beating up on the White Sox, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, you get 3 teams in the playoffs. I think that's where the math is at right now for the NL West, as far as getting teams into the postseason. And it's interesting, we have this matchup coming up tomorrow on Friday Night Baseball, because Arizona was a team that was supposed to be in the mix for this, and because of it, to your point, how strong the National League is, all of a sudden they're on the outside looking in. They're barely 500 right now. So how do they factor into all this down the stretch? And I think this is a really, important stretch here for the Padres, especially, given how many games. I think they only have 1 off day in a 27-day stretch here.
Yeah. Alex Faust with us right now. He'll call Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus tomorrow. Padres and Diamondbacks from Arizona. Just looking at the Diamondbacks here, especially for our listeners in San Diego. I mean, everyone has known the name Corbin Carroll, but he spent a lot of last year down. I know he finished better, and he's had a remarkable start, hasn't he? I mean, the power's been there, the triples, his OPS is over 900. We talk locally about Manny. We can talk about Manny Machado moving forward, but Corbin Carroll has put together, I don't know if it's under the radar or not, he's put together one of the better years in the National League, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he looks a lot like the player who won the Rookie of the Year in 2023. He's a little bit banged up right now. They say he's got some soreness with a hamstring that he's dealing with right now. But I think the one thing that stands out to me is, although he's put together a good start to the season, just digging into it a little bit, there isn't quite as much chaos that he's creating out there on the base pass. No stolen bases his last 10, just 1 his last 21. But I mean, he enters today, he's been slugging like crazy. And that goes back to the end of last year as well. 1 homer shy of his 20 homer season to begin his big league. We're mid-June yet, and he's already at 20 home runs. So, I think a guy that doesn't quite get as much due as well is Ketel Marte. Is just, year after year so solid for the Diamondbacks. I mean, you can make the argument that he's the best second baseman in baseball. He's slugging on fastballs better than Shohei Ohtani this year. And nobody seems to, pay attention to it. I think partly because playing in a smaller market in Arizona, but also just, you're right, the star power Corbin Carroll is kind of what drives that team. But Marte, he is legit too. And this Arizona team, if they could ever get a little bit of pitching, I mean, they'd be right back in the mix again.
Yeah, we know how difficult it's been the last couple of years, for the Padres to play in Arizona at that ballpark. On the flip side here, Alex, Manny Machado, if you're looking at the Padres offense, he's probably the one player in the offense that has been as consistent as could be here. Just what do you make of just Manny Machado? He just recently has 350th home run of his career. He's on pace to, get, around 3,000 hits. Like he is just a guy right now who is playing so consistent and on a level where we're watching a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think that's what the point we're really going to drive home. He is going to be leading off the Open to our show tomorrow. You think about it this way. He's the only player right now in the big leagues to have hit at least 28 home runs in 9 straight full seasons. That's excluding the COVID year, of course. Even though he's never won a World Series title, he hasn't won a Gold Glove in a decade. Like, this is a guy who is under the radar, one of the most complete players in the game. So durable, too. I mean, you think about how little time he's missed in his career. Based on the numbers that he's put up to begin this season, I mean, you could throw him in the early shortlist for MVP candidates. You mentioned, the 350 homer mark that he had. Just 102 baseball players ever have done that. That's pretty remarkable. Closing in on 2,000 hits. And there was a great article by Dennis Lin in The Athletic doing a deep dive, to your point about, could he get 3,000? I mean, that's turning into almost one of those unicorn numbers, right? 300 wins for a pitcher, 3,000 hits for a hitter. There's a legit shot of doing it because of the way he's held up for as long as he has. And I don't think he gets, again, enough respect nationally for what he's done. I think defensively too, you think about what he does year after year. I was shocked that he hadn't won a Gold Glove in a decade. Yeah. And yet he's as smooth as it gets. One of my favorite memories calling baseball last year was doing a Tuesday game for TBS. It was the game that the Padres clinched. And it was that triple play at the end of the game. And he's on it, right? At the end of the game. It's remarkable year after year what he does. And I think what's even more impressive is how much of a leader he's turned into, right? Because his reputation in Baltimore was this, brash kid, right? And who knew, what it was going to evolve into over the long haul. But man, has he turned into such a great leader for this ball club.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, as consistent as he is, he's still only 32. I mean, you hit 28 home runs a year for the next 5 years. 5 times 30 is 150. I mean, he's certainly, it's within the realm of possibility. It's almost likely, potentially, Machado gets to 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. Alex Faust is with us right now. Now, the rest of the offense, Alex, has really struggled. We just read through some numbers over the last month. The Padres have been among the worst offenses in the sport over the last month. Guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. going through it, a Luis Arraez, even a Jackson Merrill or a Gavin Sheets. Are you surprised by that? You look at this lineup on paper, it looks to be among the better ones in the sport, but it's not played out that way.
Yeah, I think truly, and I know Arraez is a big part of it, getting on base and, setting the tone at the top. If Tatis isn't going, this team isn't going. I think it's as simple as that. I mean, his swoon since the start of May, I know he has said that he doesn't feel that there's a connection, but I just keep thinking back to that hit by pitch he took in Pittsburgh at the beginning of May. And ever since then, he just looks all out of sorts. And he still is, at the point where he hasn't been able to disconnect offensive struggles from everything else. And he's wearing it a little bit. He's showing it a little bit. And it's, easier said than done to try and put on a poker face. But I do think that as he goes, this team goes, right? You need that bat in the middle of your order. The other things of this team that stands out, just digging into the numbers a little bit, is late in games. Who is going to step up in the clutch? This team is hitting just 201 from the 7th inning onward. Just 169 with runners in scoring position from the 7th inning onward. You're not winning. I mean, you played so many close games this year, and I know that they have a decent record in one-run games. But man, you should be able to put games away with a lineup like this. You shouldn't have to play 1- and 2-run games and heaven forbid you have a little bit of a bobble with what's been a terrific bullpen, you run the risk of dropping games and slipping out of, those coveted home field spots, or even just in the race for the division writ large. So I think this, to simplify it, it's if Tatis is going, this team is going. Until Tuesday's win against the Dodgers, the previous 9 games for the Padres have been decided by a total of 11 combined runs over the previous 9 games. So you need, whether it's Tatis or somebody else, but I do think it's going to be Tatis who has to drive the bus here.
Yeah, it's been very nerve-wracking around here in San Diego for the last month or so, because after the 21 nothing win over the Rockies, it was just they were playing nothing but close games until Tuesday night, as you mentioned. And back to the offense here, Alex. So, in your opinion, when you look at AJ Preller, he's going to make a move. Like, he's going to make multiple moves, right? Would you think that offense is their number one priority here, or do you think if they have guys in the lineup that just end up hitting, they can be okay, or where do you think their biggest need is going here into the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say that, because as you mentioned, on paper, guys who are usually standbys are not producing right now. The biggest issue is in left field. That just continues to be a drag with how many players that the Padres have had to plug in and left. They continue to have one of the lowest OPSs from that position. I know Jason Hayward is on his way back, but is that an answer? I don't know. I think you're right. They're going to be searching for a bat, but it's probably going to be to try to fill that hole right now in left field more so than anything else. This will be a really good measuring stick, right? This is a large chunk of division play here. And I know the Padres are 10-5 against division opponents, but I think we saw plainly how, when the offense sputters against decent pitching, it's going to wind up being a short trip in the postseason if they can't do that. So they've got to prioritize the bat, and it's probably going to be an outfield.
Alex, appreciate you taking time for us. We'll be watching tomorrow night, Padres Diamondbacks. Again, for our listeners, you can watch it Apple TV Plus, Friday Night Baseball. We've talked before about how good of a production it is. So we're looking forward to seeing Friday night Padres and Diamondbacks in the division for the first time here in 2025. Alex, thank you. Enjoyed it. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
All right, great stuff from Alex Faust. We'll react. Plus, the NBA Finals are not going the way a lot of people expected. As the Pacers win Game 3, does Game 4 now become a must-win from Oklahoma City's perspective? At 3 p.m., Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest will join the show with the U.S. Open well underway from Oakmont in Western Pennsylvania. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego FC back Saturday night. They're going to take on Minnesota United. You can hear the match live Saturday starting at 5 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home for SDFC. Ryan Harrington Golf Digest joins us at 3. And Aztec for Life is in the sole lead right now at Oakmont, and it's not Xander Schauffele. It's JJ Spawn. Shot a 66 today. He is in sole possession of the lead right now at Oakmont, so we'll keep our eye on that. Scotty Scheffler struggled. He's +2 right now. He's on the course, I think, through 13, but +2 in his opening round.
Washed, sucks.
He's done.
Should retire.
Scheffler the field. I'm taking the field right now, but we'll see. He'll probably still win it. Last night in the NBA Finals, the Pacers, with an impressive fourth quarter, they trailed going into the fourth quarter. They dominated the fourth. They take care of the Thunder. They did it relatively easily late. They now lead this series 2-1. I mean, game 4 is a must win, right? From the Thunder perspective on the road, they can't go down 3-1 in this series and feel good about their chances of winning it, can they?
Well, first off, last night's game was fantastic.
It was a good game. It was
a really good game. Back and forth. It wasn't like one team had a 15-point lead the entire way, and then the last 3 minutes were like crazy, like game 1.
Mm-hmm.
This was a back and forth game. Indiana played really well. They had to win that game last night. Like, they had to. Now, this is I don't want to. This is a legacy moment in Game 4 for a guy like SGA, because down 2-1 in the finals. It's happened before. It's not like,
of course,
an MVP has been down 2-1 in the finals and then there's like crumbled. Like, if people want to, if SGA and Thunder fans want people to start talking about SGA more and put him in a category of like, okay, this guy's, he's going to have a really good Game 4, and they're going to have to win, and they're going to have to, win Game 4, and they win Game 4, then they're winning the series, in my opinion. But if they go down 3-1, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it's like the series is on the line in Game 4. I mean, Oklahoma City is still the series favorite, -200. Pacers somewhere around +180. But the whole thing is determining Game 4. I mean, you go down 3-1, your chances are not going to be good. I don't care how good of a team you are. I don't care if you have 2 out of 3 at home, in theory. Your chances still can't be that good down 3-1. I'm with you. If they get it to 2-2, they're the clear favorite. With 2 of the last 3 potentially in Oklahoma,
yep,
they're the clear favorite. But, I mean, Oklahoma City was a 5.5-point favorite yesterday. They ended up losing by 8 or 9 points. I mean, that was a really impressive Pacers performance, especially down the stretch. I thought their fourth quarter was absolutely terrific. Indiana's. They made a ton of great plays in the final few minutes of that game, and it really wasn't overly close in the last 2 minutes. Like, they kept the separation 7-8 points in the last couple of minutes of that game. I thought the crowd was a big factor for the Pacers as well, and I'm looking forward to Game 4 Friday night. Just one day off between Games 3 and 4 right here Friday night.
One thing about this series is, if you look at the fourth quarter numbers, the Pacers have outscored the Thunder in this series by almost 30 points in the fourth quarter.
Wow, is that right?
And last night they put up a 30-point fourth quarter against OKC. So, for majority of the game, the Thunder are, just by all metrics, kind of dominating. But that fourth quarter comes around, and it happens with young teams. They don't have to close. I mean, we all are, not we, but the narrative is like, oh, the Thunder are on the verge of a dynasty. Well, they got to win one first, and they're still a young team, and this is their first NBA Finals. How much experience they have on that team that's been in the NBA Finals before? I want to say like none. That's in the rotation, unless I'm mistaken. But I don't think any player on the Thunder have had any Finals games. Oh no, Caruso.
Yeah, Alex Caruso.
That's a bubble.
Wouldn't we say, run through the Pacers for me? I mean, the Pacers don't have
Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, with the Raptors.
So, I mean, it's one player.
1-1, I'm saying, though. It's not,
I get it,
drastic, I guess.
And I'm trying to think if anybody else on the Pacers. That might be it. I think it's Pascal and Caruso.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Siakam plays more. He starts. Yeah,
Siakam's a more important player. Than Caruso's still important.
He's a good player, yeah.
But still, I just think that Game 4, man, if you're a Thunder fan, that's like your legacy game right there. That is your, game where this Thunder team could really say, all right, enough with all the talk. We're down 2-1. People say that, we don't deserve it or whatever the case may be. Like, they go out there and they win game 4. That's what they need to do.
They actually faced this in that Denver series in the conference semifinals. They were down 2-1. They needed to win game 4, and it was not easy. And they outscored the Nuggets in the fourth quarter 29-18 to win by 5. So they went into the fourth quarter in Denver down 2-1, down 6 into the fourth quarter. They came back to win that game 92-87. They'd win the series in 7 games. So it's not easy what they're dealing with. And it wasn't easy when they did it against the Denver Nuggets. I still wonder, is Indiana just a team of destiny? At this point, it's very easy to say that they may in fact be. They've had this unbelievable flair for the dramatic with game 1 included in the NBA Finals. Now they just need 2 wins to cap off what would be like a historic postseason run, an improbably historic postseason run led by Tyrese Halliburton. And it's becoming more and more likely by the day.
Well, just based on odds alone, it would be the second biggest upset in NBA Finals history.
To which one? 04?
Pistons Lakers.
Pistons Lakers, yeah. But I'm just saying, as far as going into the series,
not significant.
The Thunder had the second largest odds in NBA Finals history at minus 700.
Right.
And if you bet on the Pacers
plus 500,
plus 500 or whatever it was before the series, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But the series is definitely not over by any stretch. But what last night did is, okay, now this thing has gotten more compelling. Now this is not something that I think people are going to just click away and thinking to themselves, "Oh, Thunder are going to, win the next 3 games." No, now there's, I think, at least some intrigue here. Can this Pacers team actually pull this off and beat a Thunder team, which was the second largest odds to win the NBA Finals heading into a finals?
And not just someone interesting. I think each passing game are more likely for the series to go maybe 7 games. I mean, every single time Indiana wins, that increases the odds of the series going 7 because the opposite wouldn't hold true. I mean, if Oklahoma City was up 2-1, you'd be talking about a 5-game series. With Indiana up 2-1, you could now begin to discuss the possibility of either a 6 or 7-game series.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this absolutely could be a 7-game series because even if the Pacers lose game 4 and game 5, they're coming back for game 6. I mean, they can save their season a couple of times. They can clearly win at home. We just saw it last night. So I think we might be heading for a 7-game series, truthfully.
And while the ratings will never be good in this series,
unless it goes 7, 7th game
will be good, but it still won't be like 30
Not
million.
Historic, yeah.
It'll be like 15, which is good, but still for standards you're looking at, you're like, okay, we wish we had more for our NBA Finals Game 7. But anyway, my point is, this finals, if it turns out to be a 7-game series, will be a finals that I think people will talk about in the future and will remember. Like I was talking about before the start of the series, this has potential to be a very forgetful finals, where if the Thunder won in 5 or even 6, I do think people would just be like, who won in 2025? Oh, that's right, the Thunder. But if they go 7,
it changes it. And if the Pacers win it, it changes it.
Yes.
And by the way, if the Pacers win it, it goes down the narrative or the path we went down yesterday, which is, do you do something to bring in like a Kevin Durant type character to put you over the top in 2026? All right, we're going to switch gears. Ryan Harrington, managing editor, Golf Digest. He's at Oakmont in Western Pennsylvania, where right now JJ Spawn, the Aztec for Life, is in the lead. Sole possession of first place. Round 1 wrapping up right now in Pennsylvania, and we'll be joined on the other side by Ryan Harrington to discuss it all. So hour 2 of Jon and Jim, that's next on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, after losing a series to the Dodgers, have an off day today. They start a 7-game road trip through Arizona and LA starting tomorrow night. First up, they'll take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Last night, Game 3 of the NBA Finals, Pacers beat the Thunder to take a 2-1 lead. Game 4 will be tomorrow night in Indy. And looking at the U.S. Open leaderboard right now at Oakmont, Aztec for life, JJ Spawn leads the tournament right now at 4 under par. How many times have we all said it? That was easy. Well, the Staples Easy button is back, and it's got everyone saying it again for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos, plus quality products delivered next day to over 98% of U.S. Staples stores. That was easy.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim, and you just heard Jim mention in the update that we have an Aztec for life in the lead at Oakmont. Now they're still playing round 1 in Western Pennsylvania, but what a day for JJ Spawn. He goes out and shoots a 66. We talked about Xander last year with a couple of majors. He's got that Olympic gold as well, but JJ Spawn out to the early lead. We go out to Oakmont where Ryan Harrington joins us, managing editor, Golf Digest. He's been with us a number of times over the years, back with us right now on San Diego Sports 760. So let's start there, Ryan. Tell us about JJ Spawn's opening round at Oakmont here today.
Yeah, it was really impressive. I talked to him after the round and wrote a story for Digest about him. You know, he's never played Oakmont before. He's only played in one U.S. Open before. It was at Torrey Pines, and he played really badly. And, you know, he came in trying to, like, drown out all the noise about how difficult Oakmont is, and had a new putting coach that he started to use earlier this weekend. He was great on the greens, a bogey-free 66. It's only the 8th time that somebody has played a U.S. Open at Oakmont bogey-free. And right now he's 1 on the lead and looks like he's going to, you know, be in contention, obviously heading into the next couple of days. A really impressive start.
Yeah, that's a very, very impressive start. If you look at Scotty Scheffler's start to the Open, not the greatest. Do you still put him in he's the golfer to beat just because he's had such a fantastic year, even though, you know, not a great first round here?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. He's about to bogey the 15th hole, so he's going to be 3 over. And, you know, it's starting to put himself a little farther back on the leaderboard than he wants to. But, no, this is a guy who is definitely the number 1 ranked golfer in the world for a reason. He's hitting the ball so well, and he can catch up on this golf course quicker than anybody else. So as long as he doesn't go too high today, you know, he's still going to be a factor. He's got the opportunity to go out tomorrow morning early before maybe the rain and some of the bad weather comes through here and put, you know, catch up a little bit and whatnot. So I'm not worried necessarily about him, although he's been a little bit more off than I would have anticipated.
Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest, with us from Oakmont. This might be a dumb question, so tell me if it is.
It's dumb.
It probably is. What makes Oakmont the most difficult course in the world?
You know, it's a combination of factors. First of all, the rough here is this 5-inch thick rough, and it's just the most lush thing you've ever seen. And they've had 8 inches of rain the last 5 weeks, and just a couple over the last week or so. And so it's as thick as you can imagine. So they've got that. The greens here run at 15 on the 10 meter. They're the fastest greens that these guys encounter on almost any tour event, let alone any other major. And, you know, the golf course is 7,200 yards long, but it's just so penal in the way it's set up in terms of the canters on these holes. You know, the greens are gigantic, but if you're in the wrong place, it's worse than Augusta. They're more slopey than Augusta. They're faster than Augusta. And so it just, once you combine everything here, it just requires you to be so mentally focused when you play this golf course. You've got to be in the fairway. And if you're not in the fairway, you've got to put your next shot into a position where you're not going to compound that error and make a double bogey or a triple bogey or worse. And that's what really gets to everybody here is the idea that you can be focused for 15 holes, play great, and you can have one bad hole here, and it just screws everything up. And it just seems to be magnified at this golf course more than the others, even on the U.S. Open road.
What's been going on with Rory? After his Masters win, not been great for him.
No, it's crazy to think about it. I have to admit, I was one who thought, my gosh, he's won the Masters now. He's freed up. He finally got that major. He got the Grand Slam, and he was playing so well. And he was going to go to the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, where he's won 4 PGA Tour events. That he was ready for this huge run. And I think nobody appreciated how much energy it took for him to finally get over that hump at the Masters and to get that win. And he even said it earlier this week. He said, I've always dreamed about making the putt to win the Masters. I didn't think about what was going to happen afterwards. And I think we all just didn't appreciate how much it took out of him. And he's still trying to find himself. And it's been interesting because he's even said, in the few interviews he has done after the Masters, is his motivation is a little bit suspect. He's accomplished what he wants in his career, and now he's got to reset. And I'm just not sure he's obviously been able to do that yet. He was playing pretty well today, actually, but then he shot a 41 on his back nine, and he kind of essentially shot himself out of this tournament. And it's interesting because I would not have predicted that at all after the Masters. And he's got one more, he's got the Open Championship at Portrush, and that's going to be a very sentimental thing. And perhaps he's just trying to get everything righted to be able to be ready for that event. I don't know, but you're right. It's been really weird to see him perform the way he has over the course of the last month.
Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest, with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. As we talk right now, 13 golfers are technically under par. But is there a score at Oakmont you kind of circle and say, if I post this over 72 holes, I got a shot? Like, what's it going to take in your estimation being there to potentially be in contention to win this thing come Sunday?
Well, I think if they didn't have any more rain and whatnot, an even par score to win the championship would be realistic. I really generally do. This golf course is starting to firm up a little bit, and it's only going to get harder, and it's only going to be more difficult to make these birdies. Those numbers are lower today, and that's because the course is still a little bit soft. The problem is going to be that the forecast over the course of the next 3 days includes some weather, rain, thunderstorms, and if that golf course gets soft again, I think you're going to see scores. Dustin Johnson won here with a 4-under, I think, last time. I think 4-under, 5-under is a realistic number to win, and if the golf course is a little bit softer. So it kind of depends on those variables there, but this is not, even for USGA standards lately, this is going to be a more difficult test than they've had in U.S. Opens of late. And I think, traditionalists kind of want to see a little bit more hell going through these guys, a little bit more punishment for these guys. So it's probably not the worst thing in the world.
The defending champ, Bryson DeChambeau, +3 right now after his first round. What were you expecting from him coming into this tournament? And did you expect a little more in round one, or do you think that he could make a push as well heading into the weekend?
I think he can still make the push. This is the one guy here who's got the strength and the length on this golf course to kind of get past some of the issues that other players are going to face. The biggest issue he's got right now is, his iron play actually at both the PGA Championship and the Masters was suspect. He was great off the tee. He was putting pretty well. He was in contention at both those tournaments, but his irons just kind of let him down. Now he's got a new set of irons he put in the bag last week at the Live event, and he's still trying to get adjusted to them. I think he feels like they're going to help him, but obviously today, 3 over, like you said, a reasonable round, but not that great a round. And I'm sure he would have liked to have gotten off to a little bit of a faster start, and now he's got to adjust and see what he can do. But I still think he could be a factor here. Yeah, I think he's just got too much, power and an ability to overtake this golf course. But he's going to be ruining the fact that he didn't do better today.
Ryan, what have you made of Xander Schauffele's year? I know he wasn't fully healthy coming in. He's coming off the incredible 2024, and I know he finished with back-to-back birdies to get to 2 over. So he's certainly probably where he needs to be. But what have you made of his year and the position he's in so far at Oakmont?
Yeah, I think, it was difficult for him. He talked about that earlier this week, the fact that the injury happened, and he's never really had an injury as a professional that set him back the way this one has. And it really delayed the start of the season, his preparation for the season. And so, not surprisingly, I think he's probably, a month or so behind where he would want to be. And if you think about that, okay, then the major season started and he really hasn't gotten ready for it. And he still played pretty well, all things considered, at both the Masters and the PGA Championship. And the 2 over today, like you said, those birdies on the last 2 holes are huge. Now he's only 2 over for the round. He's only 6 back in the lead. This is a tournament that he's played it in this tournament 8 times, and I think he's got 7 top 10 finishes. He's a fantastic player in this event. And so I know he was coming into the event thinking, this is the one I really want to get here. I think I'm ready. I think my game's ready to do it. And he probably wanted to get off to himself again a little bit better start than he's done right now, but he's in a really good position.
Do you have like a dark horse that you're watching right now to get through the weekend? I know it's only day one, and day one, maybe the leaderboard looks a little wonky, but of the players at the top of the leaderboard, any dark horses that you see?
Dark horse, it's a tricky thing. I saw Murakami earlier today playing really well, and I thought, this is a guy who's a tremendous ball striker. This is a dark horse that should suit him. He's not the longest player in the world, but he can get it in the fairways. He can get it on the greens, and if he's just got a decent putting game going, he's going to be in contention. He's still somebody that I think right now, dark horse again, he's just not major champion, so it's a little bit hard to peg him like that. But there's a guy who we haven't been talking about a lot lately, and I think he's got the game to win at this golf course. I think he's got to come to, finishing the house today a little bit better than he's doing right now. But ultimately, there's a guy he's won over. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, so that's not too bad. I think that's a guy who, hey, let's watch and see what happens here in the next 2 days and see if he can get himself up a little higher on that leaderboard.
U.S. Open once again underway at Oakmont in Western Pennsylvania. Ryan Harrington covering it for Golf Digest. Ryan, we appreciate you taking time for us here in San Diego. Be well, and we will connect again soon, all right?
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
All right, great stuff from Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest. Again, where JJ Spawn, the Aztec for Life, is in the lead. They're still playing late in that first round in Oakmont. Do you think you'd play well at Oakmont?
No, John, I don't think I'd play well at all. I think, honestly, I would probably...
What kind of attitude is that?
I'd probably shoot 100 on the first
hole.
9.
No, you wouldn't.
No, dude, I'm not going to say that I would be okay at a PGA US Open golf course. Like, no chance.
With those like thick rough, and
I remember playing at Torrey the year. When was the last time they had
2021?
2021
was the US Open.
And I remember playing there before the Open for like a media round.
Yeah.
And I hit the ball on the first tee into like the rough on the right side. It wasn't like a bad shot. On any normal day, it'd have been a really good shot. But it just like rolled into the rough on the right side of the fairway. I couldn't find the ball. Like I could not find
the ball was still there. Maybe
the ball. Well, it's probably not still there.
Since,
but I could not find it, and that was just my first shot of the day.
Right.
And I would hit a lot more shots into the rough and the U.S. Open rough. Unless you have a spotter out there, and even then, spotters it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to find. Like
it's like gone forever.
It's gone forever.
Dude, how about the stat that Ryan Harrington just said that JJ Spawn is the 8th golfer ever at Oakmont in a major to shoot bogey free. He's the
wild.
8th golfer ever to shoot bogey free in a round at Oakmont. What?
Huh?
I mean, that tells you how challenging it is to win there, and you can win over par. That's happened before at Oakmont. That's how crazy that course plays.
Do you like that, by the way? Like if you're
the U.S. Open, I'm cool with it.
Okay.
I don't like it if it's like the RBC Heritage and everyone's like +6.
Well, that would never happen. Those tournaments are like the winners plus, the winners like -22.
I'm okay. Are you cool with it with an Open or like the Open Championship, like like the British Open? Like I feel like sometimes it plays that way as well, like with the conditions, the rain, the wind.
I'm cool with it because it reminds me of like an NFL football game that's a low scoring football game, and everything on offense that you do is magnified.
Right.
Or even in basketball, low scoring basketball game.
Yeah.
Low scoring baseball game.
Or like you're one hole away from that triple bogey.
Or you're one shot away from like,
getting back into it.
Can I just birdie 2 of the next 5 holes? And that's difficult in a U.S. Open, maybe for some courses. But if I just birdie 2 of the next 5 holes, I might be right back in this thing. It's crazy.
That is crazy. Do you have a point to make about Caitlin Clark on the other side that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Okay, we're gonna do that. Plus, I may have jinxed the San Francisco Giants earlier because they'd won 7 straight, and we
just love jinxing everything.
Rolling to a win today, but the Rockies beat the Giants, which is good news for the Padres. Jim makes a point on Caitlin Clark. We have updated MLB power rankings to share with you this hour as well, which is exciting. We're here until 6 p.m. Don't go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, our iHeartRadio Music Festival back. Live performances by The Offspring, Maroon 5 and more, September 19th, 20th, T-Mobile in Vegas, 2 nights, 1 stage. The Capital One presale means cardholders have access to tickets before the general public. That starts today. Also, the Capital One Access Pass add-on gets you into an exclusive pre-concert cardholder event with a private performance by LL Cool J Friday or Jelly Roll Saturday. Go to the iHeartRadio website, iHeartRadio.com/Capital One. Get your tickets now before they're gone. General public sale starts Friday at 11 a.m. for the iHeartRadio Music Fest. You want to go?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to go?
Well, yeah, then we should probably, order tickets.
All right.
Tomorrow at 11 a.m. Unless you have a Capital One card, which I do, so we get them right now.
Let's do it right now.
Should I just do the whole process right now?
Yeah.
iHeartRadio.com/Capital One.
No, I was just kidding. You don't have to do it right now.
How much do you think tickets are?
Good amount. Do we get a discount because we work at iHeartRadio?
That's a great question. I think over the years we would be able to sometime.
Can we go for free?
Maybe. The Capital One presale is going on right now.
Okay.
So yeah, they weren't kidding in that read. So we could get tickets. How much are tickets? A good question. Okay. So I just saw in the rundown, and I didn't ask you about this because I figured you would just talk about it. You have a take in here about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. This is what you wrote, and I'll let you go from here. Can I read what you wrote?
Sure.
Caitlin Clark is the WNBA, is the WNBA, and she's their most valuable asset, and it isn't even close. It's
Correct.
not exactly a hot take, is it?
No, not a hot take at all. It's not like I have this profound thing that you never thought of before that I'm going to say to you. It's the ratings are down 50%.
50 from last year?
No. Let me finish. The ratings are down 50% since Caitlin Clark went out with her injury this year.
Oh,
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
she's the league.
She's the league. She's the most valuable asset to the league. I think what they did to Caitlin Clark last year was a complete misstep, treating her like she wasn't this valuable and other players are on her level. And just, she's not the best player in the league, but, let's not treat her like she's the best because she has to earn her dues first.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You need all the help that you can get. And she is like the golden goose coming in and the biggest lifeline that your league could ask for. And you treated her last year like she wasn't. And now, to their credit, this year, they put every single Fever game on national television, as they should.
Mm-hmm.
Every primetime game, every national weekend game is basically the Fever, which is very smart. But when she got hurt, you knew that was going to be inside the league offices for the WNBA because she drives the ship, and she is the most valuable asset that league has and has ever had. And they need to continue to prop her up as much as they possibly can and just pray that she doesn't get injured like she just did because the ratings have tanked without her. Which
again makes complete sense. I mean, we've said this before, how do you even compare Caitlin Clark to another athlete in another sport? That's how significant she is to the WNBA. I mean, is it Tiger to golf in his heyday, Caitlin to WNBA? Give me another athlete that compares to Caitlin Clark's, I don't know, profile in the WNBA. Is there a comparable athlete?
I would say the thing about Tiger, well, yes, Tiger took golf to another level. After Tiger now, it's not like it's fallen off a cliff.
Right.
It's not where it was when Tiger was at his peak.
Right, but it hasn't dropped 50% probably.
No, I don't think it has.
I don't think so. I don't know, though.
You still have Rory, Bryson, Scotty, Xander.
Yeah, definitely.
You have a good amount of well-known golfers, even if you're not a golf fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you watch much golf.
I'm not a huge golf fan, but I do. And I enjoy it. I think the current day's best golfers are enjoyable to watch.
And I think that the golf community as well has done a really good job with Netflix show, with podcasts. Like they've done a really good job making sure that golf is finding a way into the national media.
Mm-hmm.
But the WNBA without Caitlin Clark, it's going to be a very tough ask.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Before Caitlin Clark, the WNBA was around for a long time. Now that Caitlin Clark is in the WNBA, the profile of this league is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like been shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
And the interest is at an all-time high. But you're right. How do you get it to a point where it isn't so reliant on one player? There's a number of terrific players in the WNBA. Very recognizable names, like obviously her rival in Angel Reese. Mm-hmm. One of the newcomers, like a Paige Beckers, who was at UConn. I mean, there's a number of young stars in the game. Juju Watkins still at SC, or is she in the league now?
Juju Watkins is recovering from an ACL injury at USC.
She was okay. So, I mean, but I'm saying the future of the game, I think, is bright because it's not just like it was Caitlin Clark and then nobody's heard of anyone else. Like, again, Paige Beckers is a massive star. Juju Watkins is a massive star. Angel Reese is a star. Now, nobody's Caitlin Clark. But then again, I mean, that's typically how sports work. There's always going to be a top of the pecking order. But yeah, I mean, the WNBA could not be more thankful. Like they should be extremely thankful that Caitlin Clark exists, because without Caitlin Clark, you're nowhere near the profile that you are right now.
Here's the thing about Caitlin Clark. She's like a really good player. She's one of the best in the league. She might not be the best, but she's one of the best already in year 2.
Yeah, she's only played like 30 games in the league.
Yeah. And her talent, you see it. Like first game of the year, she puts up a triple-double. Yeah. She's shooting 30-footers.
She has the second most triple-doubles in the history of the league.
And she's been
like 2 or 3.
Right. And she's played for how many games you said? 30-something?
Like 30-something, yeah.
But back to like other players in the league, and one of them is the player that is deemed her rival, which is Angel Reese. The only way that the league can prosper without like a Caitlin Clark, if she's injured, and if Angel Reese was actually good at basketball, because she's not. I've watched Angel Reese a ton of times. Now that's because they were playing the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, but she's not good. She's a rebound merchant, and she needs to hold up her end of the bargain here, or at least hold up her end of things here, if she's going to put herself out there saying, I'm also one of the best players in the league, and I'm also one of the reasons why the WNBA is where it's at right now. You're not. You're a name that's not good at basketball, that only rebounds. You're shooting like 30% from the field. You have no good footwork. You can't make a 2-foot shot. You need to hold up your end of the bargain, and you need to be better. And if and when she does that, then it's only going to help the league.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, she's never going to be, because again, when you compare people, again, they play different positions, but it's impossible to compare even a rival of a Caitlin Clark to Caitlin Clark.
I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying, like, as people know it right now, the casual WNBA fan, even if you're not a WNBA fan, there's a rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, correct?
Yeah. I mean, Angel Reese won a national championship over Caitlin Clark.
And people that don't watch the WNBA or don't watch Angel Reese or don't watch Caitlin Clark think Angel Reese is actually like really good at basketball, when in reality, she has a long way to go to be considered one of the better players in the WNBA. And if she was actually improving her game instead of just being a rebounding merchant like she is, then when Caitlin Clark's out, maybe people would want to go watch Angel Reese, and they would want to turn on the television to watch Angel Reese. But the only reason why people are turning on the TV to watch Angel Reese is because they play the Indiana Fever. And whenever they play the Indiana Fever on national television, they're turning on to watch Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese.
100%. I mean, Angel Reese, I don't know if she's a bad player, but
not good.
She did win. I do think it's a rivalry because of what she did in college. I think LSU beating Iowa in a national championship or in a Final Four kind of started that story. All right, we're going to get to more important things like MLB power rankings on the other side. So we'll share those with you on the other side. We'll get to the wrap at 4 p.m. If you missed our conversation with Alex Faust, who's calling Padres Diamondbacks tomorrow night on Apple TV, you'll hear that coming up at the 4 o'clock hour as well. We're here until 6. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Indeed.com. We'll start with the Padres. They have an off day today. They start a 7-game road trip starting tomorrow night in Arizona against the D-backs. Game 3 of the NBA Finals last night went to the Pacers. Pacers have a 2-1 lead. Game 4 will be tomorrow night in Indy. And look at the U.S. Open leaderboard in Oakmont. Aztec for Life, JJ Spawn. He is at the top of the leaderboard right now at 4 under par. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday? How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy, just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Can we push back power rankings until 3:45 to talk about Luis Arraez?
If you want, John, I mean, I would love to talk about power rankings here, but I understand that we can if we you can want. Push it back. No.
It can be a choose your own adventure. Like our listeners can choose. Now, how, I don't know.
How would they choose?
Put it in the chat if you're watching on YouTube. Just put in the chat. Do you want to talk about Luis Arraez? You want to talk MLB power rankings?
Well, you came in today, and the first thing you told me was like, dude, have you read this article about Luis Arraez from Dan Szymborski?
Right. The fact that we haven't talked about it yet, that's why I'm like, I need to talk about this.
Fine. You know what, John?
I can't keep putting this off.
Let's talk about it because you're itching to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, Okay. So here's the deal. You are witnessing Luis Arraez in his final season as a Padre because you don't want him for the next 4 or 5 years. And let me explain based on what Dan Szymborski wrote.
Hot take?
Yeah, this isn't the, hey, Caitlin Clark is the reason to watch the WNBA, you think? Luis Arraez, throw out a number. How many balls is he
742.
How many balls has he barreled up this year? Luis Arraez. Mr. Line Drive everywhere, Luis Arraez.
14.
14 balls he's barreled up, Mr. Line Drive, Luis Arraez. Brian, how many balls has Luis Arraez barreled this year? I mean, he hits everything right on the
25.
Screws. 25, right? 14. How about 1? He's had one.
Wait, what?
1 barrel this year. You know what his WAR is? It's a negative WAR this year. It's negative 0.2. Do you know what his projections are for the next 5 years? Here they are from Dan Szymborski, who came up with Zip's projections. That's his last name, Szymborski. This is his projected WAR. Next year, 1. The year after, 0.9. The year after, 0.6. The year after, 0.2. The year after, 0.1. So you're watching a player, and this is what Dan Szymborski theorizes as to why Luis Arraez is no longer Luis Arraez, and we'll see if he can work his way out of it, is that he swings at way too many pitches out of the zone, and the problem is he hits every pitch out of the zone. He never swings and misses at anything, whether it's in the zone or out of the zone, and he swings at way too many pitches out of the zone. In fact, his contact rate of pitches out of the zone is 96%. He makes contact with 96% of the pitches he swings it out of the zone. The major league average is like 50%. So he swings at too many pitches out of the zone. He doesn't walk. His batting average is way down. It was even down last year from the year before in Miami. So Luis Arraez is not the player he was even 2 years ago. The projections would tell you he's not going to be the player he is right now, even 2 years from now. I think we're watching Luis Arraez in his final year in a Padres uniform, and there's probably good reason. You're going to pay a guy that has one tool, that's to get on base, if he's not getting on base?
So what you're saying is we might have a problem with Luis Arraez.
I think it's a big problem, potentially, because he hits for, obviously he hits for no power, and that's fine, but then you have to get on base at a really good clip. And we bought that argument in 2024. He hit over 300, won the batting title. He still didn't get on base at a great clip. Well, now he's getting on base at a worse clip than 2024. So what's the argument? Like, what's the compelling argument and sales job on Luis Arraez? He hits with men in scoring position, that's basically his selling point.
I'm pretty sure his batting average this year is close to 320. I know it was 320 heading into yesterday's game with runners in scoring position, and he had an opportunity in the game with, I think, the bases loaded, right?
Popped out.
And he popped out, so it went down. But still, he's done well this year with runners in scoring position. Over an 800 OPS, around a 320 batting average. So he's been good with runners in scoring position. And his biggest, I guess, superpower is he doesn't strike out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But it might be also be his like kryptonite and his weakness. Quick, John.
Because
what movie does kryptonite have?
Office Space.
Okay, close.
I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah.
He can hit everything. So like he swings at
everything.
He swings at everything and he makes contact with everything. But again, that's almost like the good of it is he can hit everything. The bad of it is he can hit bad pitches. So what are the odds of hitting a bad pitch really well? Like you're basically doing the pitcher a service saying, hey, I can take that pitch a foot off the zone and I can still pull it or I can slap it the other way. But that's not the pitch that you should be swinging at. He swings at too many pitches that are out of the zone and he's paying for it.
Do you think him not hitting leadoff has anything to do with this?
Interesting. Hadn't thought of it.
Guy's a leadoff hitter for his entire career, and then this year they put him in the 2-hole.
That's a great point. Potentially, I think it's possible, or maybe what Dan Zaborski writes is what teams have theorized, which is he's such a free swinger, and he's so capable of doing damage with anything in the zone. Why are you throwing him anything in the zone when he never walks?
Yeah, it's going to be so fascinating to see the market for Luis Arraez.
I don't think it's going to be anything great, would be my guess. I think that he's not going to get the long deal. He's going to get the 2-3 years. He's not going to get the 15+ million. He's going to get the 10-12.
The thing with him is he's only valuable to you if he's hitting for a high average.
Yep.
Like that's it. And the thing is, he's hit for a high average the last
5 years.
5 straight seasons.
Exactly.
So he's been, you can make an argument he's been valuable.
Right.
Regardless of his WAR and his other, like he is a guy that does something or has done something the last 5 years that is rare to see in the sport. Guy that doesn't strike out, hit for a high average. Oh, and by the way, he's won 3 straight batting titles. You know, if he's not doing that, if he's not hitting for a high average, that's a problem because he doesn't hit for power. He does not get on base. He doesn't draw walks.
His speed is bad and his glove is average. So all those factors, by the way, I looked it up. As a leadoff hitter in his career, he's hit 322. As a 2-hole hitter in his career, he's hit under 300. Now, a lot of that's predicated probably on this year. He's hit 299 in his career, batting second. He's hit 322 batting leadoff. But again, some of these indicators that Dan Zaborski's running about aren't encouraging. I expect Luis Arraez to hit better than whatever he's hitting right now. Like I still think he's fully capable of hitting 300, but is even that enough to potentially have him here long term? I think the answer is probably no. You know how we always talk about OPS plus? OPS plus of 100 is an average major league hitter, which means 101 is 1% better than major league average and 99 is 1% worse. His OPS plus this year is 98, 2% worse than the average hitter in the major leagues. Like, how's that possible?
What's Xander's OPS plus?
Lower than that. What's your guess?
87.
That would be my guess. 87. It's 82.
Oh,
so 18% worse than the average major league hitter, Xander Bogaerts.
But John,
yeah, I know. But he had 3 hits, Jim.
So we posted this on our Instagram page. Was it last week or earlier this week?
I think it was last week.
I think it was the end of last week. And it was definitive. It was us saying definitively that Xander Bogaerts' contract is the worst contract in the Padres franchise history. Eric Hosmer, you're off the hook.
Right.
And there were actually people in there like defending it.
Oh, yeah, like strongly
defending it to the point where they were arguing over who was a worse bad player for the team, Eric Hosmer or Xander Bogaerts. Now, the one thing that Xander has that Eric Hosmer doesn't is he still has time. Eric Hosmer's career in a Padres uniform is over, so that book is closed. The book is still open with Xander to, I don't know, have a huge hit in the NLCS to propel the Padres to the World Series. To have a World Series where he hits 400 and wins the World Series MVP after a year where he hit 9 home runs and he hit 250 for you. He still has time to like do those things to make up for this awful contract. But the likelihood of that happening, it's very low. And if that doesn't happen, if those things don't happen where Xander has like these massive moments, I don't think he's ever going to have a great season again, but he could have like a great moment.
Of course, he could come through in a big spot in the postseason like Jay Cronenworth did.
Or a great series.
Of course.
To make people somewhat forget about how awful this contract is.
Right.
But that's a far ways away from happening because those moments, like the Padres actually have to get there, and in the regular season, Xander's been awful. He's been bad. He has no power. His OPS plus right now, as you said, is 82. Just for a position player that's making $25 million a year, that's unacceptable.
These are the problems, and it's factual. Like the Bogarts OPS plus, Arraez's year being the worst year of his season, Tatis mired in the worst slump of his career. These are the issues the Padres are experiencing, and this is why they haven't taken off since that 14-3 start. All right, how does it impact them in the power rankings? I'm sure everyone wants to know. We'll share those MLB updated power rankings with you on the other side. We'll get to the wrap at 4 p.m. If you missed our conversation with Alex Faust, who's calling the game tomorrow night between the Padres and the Diamondbacks, we'll share that with you coming up at 4:30. We are here until 6. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Again, if you missed Alex Faust, he'll call tomorrow's Padres Diamondbacks game. You'll hear it at 4:30. We mentioned at Oakmont, JJ Spawn in the lead, right?
Yes.
Remember Justin Hastings, San Diego State, the amateur? He is tied for 15th even par right now. And he's an amateur.
He's in it.
And he's tied for 15th. He is right now the low amateur, Justin Hastings. So you got a couple of Aztecs that have played well here day one at Oakmont in Western Pennsylvania. All right, what's the ramifications of the updated power rankings on the Padres? They haven't played perfect baseball here over the last couple of weeks. I don't even want to click on the link.
You don't
see what it's meant for the power rankings. No, because at one point this year when they were 14-3, I was looking at links that said they were number one. And we were thinking about parade routes and banners and celebrations. But now that they're dropping the power rankings, I mean, what does it all mean, Jim?
Well, let me tell you what it means, John. Here are the top 10 teams in baseball, according to MLB.com's or ESPN.com, excuse me, power rankings.
Top 10?
Top 10. These are the MLB. No one should pay attention to these. They're stupid and no one should care. Power rankings. Okay.
Padres are going to be on this list, right?
Number 10, the Tampa Bay Rays
swept the Padres at Petco.
I didn't realize they're 36-32.
Okay, so they're number 10.
Number 9. No,
we get a drum roll for all 10. I'm kidding.
We have 4 hours to fill, John.
Okay, you're right. Can we get a drum roll for all 30?
Number 9.
Okay, what do you got?
The Houston Astros, 37-30 on the year.
Okay.
Their previous ranking was 10.
All right, so they've moved up.
Number 8. Your San Diego Padres.
Oh, really?
Previous power ranking, 7.
So they dropped a spot. But for all the, someone put in our text line, for example, Jim, that like, why are you two so negative? They're 5-5 against the Brewers, Giants, and Dodgers. Compare the record to last year. Stop being Chicken Little. The sky's falling. Yeah. And they are right now in the power rankings 8th and 9 games over 500. Does that validate the texter's text? Maybe.
I mean, look, there are things that you absolutely should be happy about with this team, and there's things that you absolutely should be concerned about with this team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we got to talk about it for 4 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, come on. They just lost the series to the Dodgers. They're 5-5 in their last 10.
Right. I mean,
2 games under since 14-13. Yeah, 14-3.
Their offense, the numbers are the numbers. We read them earlier.
Yeah, if you want some guy with pom-poms or a show with pom-poms, go somewhere else.
It's not hard to find.
Yeah. Number 7.
Okay.
The San Francisco Giants, who blew a lead today to the worst team in baseball, Colorado Rockies.
Well, largely, they had at least a 4-run lead at one point.
They should have got swept that series. They ended up
taking 2 of 3.
2 of 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if they played another game.
Or was it 3 or 4? They wouldn't play through Friday. They would play through Thursday.
Yeah, that's probably right. 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Number 6, the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay.
They're 39-29. Previous power ranking was 5th.
Does this end with the Dodgers on top?
Number 5, the Chicago Cubs, 41-27.
Not the White Sox?
Not the White Sox, John. Even though
the Pope put a White Sox hat on yesterday at the Vatican?
Correct. Number 4, the LA Dodgers.
Oh, wow. Season's over.
Previous ranking was 2nd.
Man, what happened to the Dodgers?
Number 3, the New York Yankees.
Okay.
41-25. Number 2, the New York Mets.
So who does that even leave? If the Mets and the Dodgers are off the board, that's going to leave a team in the American League. You've already mentioned the Yankees.
Number 1.
I know who it is.
Who is it?
I know it is because my buddy's calling their games. Jason Benetti. It's the Detroit Tigers.
The Detroit Tigers.
That's amazing.
44-25.
They're 20 games over 500, the Tigers. Well, 19. But they're 19 games over 500. That's amazing. Made the postseason last year.
Mm-hmm.
I've been better this year, clearly.
There they have. So, again, the Detroit Tigers, 44.
Best team in baseball.
Best team in baseball.
That's crazy.
Best team in baseball by, I mean, that's wild to me that they're 44-25 on the year.
That's amazing.
And Tariq Skubal is they're one of their best players. And other than that, who else do they have on the team?
Apparently 25 other players. But that record, by the way, is also the best. No, you know what? The Mets are 44-24 right now. The Mets are actually a half game better than the Tigers. But in those power rankings, the Tigers are the best team in the sport. Listen, I don't. Do you argue a ton with those rankings you just shared? Like, I mean, the Padres is like a top 8-ish team. I don't think they're definitively playing like it. And I don't think they're not playing like it. They are playing a tough schedule. That is true. They've been playing good teams. They've held their own against good teams. So I buy that they're like they're a top 10 team right now, but they haven't always looked like it over the last month or so, a top 10 team. But I buy them being a top 10-esque team potentially, but I don't think they should be higher than that.
AJ Hinch, man, what a fantastic job he's done.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah. He's just done a fantastic job there.
Yep.
And last year with their run in September into the postseason,
that was a huge run. Yeah.
With a bunch of like, who's?
Yep.
And they were helped out because Alex said with us earlier today that when you have a team in your division that's literally the worst in baseball,
you get to beat up.
That makes your division that much better. And they get to beat up on that team. So, I think you look at the Tigers and AJ Hinch has done a fantastic job.
We might be getting a Tigers-Padres World Series.
Tigers Mets World Series.
Maybe that. I'm just looking at what they've done this year. Scuba last year was 18-4, and this year he's 6-2 with a 2.1 ERA. Wow, what a couple of years for Tariq Scuba. All right, good job with the updated power rankings. No huge takeaway to me other than it means nothing. That's the one thing with baseball is it changes so frequently. Like one series means so much. You take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. What are we saying today about the Padres? We're saying a lot better things.
Yeah,
truthfully. But you lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, and what are you saying today? You're saying that
season's over,
or that they're just they don't necessarily look the part. But we're only talking about the difference between one game. But it's hard for me to argue with the Padres being, again, I can't sit here and be like, oh, they should be a top 5 team. I mean, I watch them every single night. I don't think they're playing like a top 5 team. Truthfully, I don't think they're playing like a top 8 team.
Right.
But the body of work is the body of work.
And they just got to figure out a way to make sure that this offense gets going again, because if not, I mean, it's just going to put so much pressure on everything with the pitching staff and the bullpen. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr., it's go time, buddy. It is go time. And you're going to play in Arizona where you have good career numbers, and then against the Dodgers again, where you have good career numbers at Dodger Stadium, by the way. He plays great at Dodger Stadium.
Right.
I mean, this road trip, I'm expecting some big things from Tatis.
No doubt about it. We'll get to the wrap on the other side. Coming up at 4:30, Alex Faust will call Padres and Diamondbacks for Apple TV. You'll hear that conversation coming up at 4:30, but we'll kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim with the wrap. That's next right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. We'll start with the Padres. They have an off day today. They start a 7-game road trip through Arizona and LA starting tomorrow night. Moving over to the NBA Finals, Game 3 last night. Pacers took down the Thunder. They have a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 is tomorrow night in Indy. And looking at the U.S. Open leaderboard right now, at Oakmont, and former Aztec for life JJ Spawn leads the tournament right now at 4 under par. Need help fast? Anderson's same-day guarantee clears clogs pronto. Nobody wows clients like they do. Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air has served over 500,000 residential clients for more than 45 years. Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. That's AndersonPHA.com.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim. We're here until 6. If you missed our conversation with Alex Faust, he's calling Padres Diamondbacks tomorrow on Apple TV. You'll hear it coming up at 4:30. We're keeping our eye on Oakmont, where as the first round wrapped up, Jim, do we know? No, it is not wrapped up, but it's about to wrap up. There's a few golfers still out there, maybe through 16 or 17 or 15 holes. JJ Spawn, again, has that lead at 4 under par, and we're getting you ready for Padres and Diamondbacks Game 1 tomorrow night as well. I apologize.
Yeah, I hate you.
This is the problem with Jim. It's not a problem. It's my fault. Jim, what's the word that would describe Jim? Like, you're very, once you do something, you're all in it on it. What's that word?
I don't know.
But you know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
So I started buying cards in my midlife crisis. I'm older than you. I've got a 6-year-old son. It's something that was like drawing us like together, right? So I was buying cards for Jones.
Your camera's out again.
It was reminding me of my childhood. Who cares? Do you really need to see me? You do.
Let me figure that out. There's the point of having
a YouTube
channel. Yeah.
Stand by.
Get a better camera. Be a man.
It's because
your phone is
knocking it out.
Yeah, you have like 3 ports over there, and you have 75 cords, all like connected to your.
I'm not even in the studio.
Oh, maybe it's an internet problem.
I'm in the studio. Add me and figure this out.
Hold on. Okay, there you go.
All right, here we go. We're back. So anyway, I start buying cards. I'd say 4 or 5 weeks ago. I go to a card show. I go with Jones. Then I'm downloading apps. I'm buying things online. I'm getting things shipped to the office. I'm bringing things home. Like, right. And the issue was that Jim sees me do this, and it got Jim back into. Jim was doing this well before me.
I was.
And now Jim is where I am, but he's going to take it to an nth degree, I feel like. And during the show, can we make this admission right now or not?
I may have bid on something.
And landed a card,
and
right?
I may have accidentally won it. And I didn't.
Was it like accidental because we're like on air and you're like, don't know what you're doing?
Yes.
Again, it wasn't. Thankfully, you didn't bid like $4,000, right?
No, it was only like $40.
And now, are you going to go home? Do you feel like this is something you need to? Are you going to sit down with Aaron and be like, honey, we need to talk?
I already regret my decision. Like, I already 100% regret this. Like, I did not want to do that. I don't know why I did that. I panicked. My thumb was just moving. I 100% regret what I just did.
I mean,
I don't even want this. And I'm that was a stupid thing I just did.
Erase the app.
That's a smart idea. I'm going to do that because this is only going to cause problems.
It can cause problems. It can cause problems that I don't know if you're prepared to deal with.
See, I know.
Are you going to go home and tell Aaron what happened here?
No, I will not. Now, it's not like I spent like $400 on something. It's $40. And again, here's how you look at it. To make myself feel better, this is how I'm gonna look at it to make myself feel better.
Mm-hmm.
So this entire week, I've packed my lunches. I haven't gone out during this week.
So what do you typically spend on a lunch if you go out? Rubio's, what do you spend?
$15 to $20.
All right, so you do that 3 or 4 times in a week, you're pushing 60 to 80.
Right.
3 or 4, 60, $80.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Probably
60, 70.
Around
80.
there. So I packed my lunch this entire week.
Saved $60+.
And then I just spent $40.
You're still ahead.
I'm still a plus 20. Let's go. Everything's great.
I mean, here's my theory on it. Just real quick. Here's my theory. All people, and correct me if I'm wrong, all people need like outlets. A lot of people have hobbies. People have things that they enjoy. Maybe some people buy books. Maybe some people download music. Maybe some people buy cards. Maybe some people are into like art, buy art. I mean, maybe you want to play guitar, you pick up a guitar. I mean,
you bought a guitar, didn't you?
I did actually during the pandemic. But I'm saying, like, isn't that like a very natural thing for people to do? Like, you're pursuing something that is of interest. I mean, again, to your point, people spend $8 a day on coffee. Don't think twice about it.
Right.
I'm being serious.
Exactly.
I'll be the same way. I've spent $2 a day for 5 straight weeks on Diet Coke. If I didn't do that, I have $50 in my pocket or whatever.
And you spend $8 on a card, and you're like, oh, I can't believe I just spent $8 on a card.
We're not going to ever be the guys to be dropping like $130K and calling creditors in Switzerland to like figure out how to pay for it.
I thought you were going to say $130. I'm like, well,
but that's what I'm saying. But with you, again, I don't think you're ever going to go crazy with it.
No, I'm not. I know there will be a time where I'm like, okay, I'm good. Because that's exactly what happened to me like 4 years ago.
But for me, it's more like I'm trying to sustain it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to spend any crazy money, but if I want a Tatis rookie, let's live a little.
Now, James did make a good point in our chat. He said $40. Why are you stressing out about that?
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. It's not like, well, the reason is because we don't have $40.
It's like a gateway drug. It's like this $40 is going to lead to $100, which is going to lead to $150, and it's going to lead to $350, which is going to lead to like, do I really need this $450 PSA 10 card? Maybe.
And then Aaron's going to be like, yeah, what are you doing with your money? And then you're going to be on the street.
A problem.
Just play dumb. Just like 40. Oh, shoot. I missed a decimal point. I thought it was 4.
Yeah, I thought it was only $4.
Like cancel the order or something. I don't even know if you can do that.
No, just don't cancel it. Just be like, I thought it was only 4. Oops. So well.
Now, we've had this conversation before. You and Aaron share banking. A lot of couples do. Like, do you kind of share banking or not?
We have our own personal banking accounts, and then we have a shared account that we like. We can transfer money from our accounts into.
But like, for example, if Aaron went to Ralph's and spent $100, I'm making it up, you'd see Aaron spending $100 at Ralph's?
No.
Oh, you wouldn't see it?
No.
Okay, and if you spent $100 at Ralph's, Aaron wouldn't see that you spent $100 at Ralph's? Would not see it?
She would not see it, no.
Oh, you're good.
I'm fine.
Right?
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
We're stricken this whole segment from the podcast. It never happened.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
She's not watching. She's not listening. So my point is she's not really going to be the wiser.
And we also talked about this too. Aaron, if you're listening, text me.
Remember that one day? It was Aaron, right? She's
it was Kristen
too. She's like,
oh, it was Aaron. She's like, you don't have an updated driver's license, or your driver's license expired.
What do you mean your passport isn't here or whatever?
It's 4:00. I don't think she's listening.
It is always risky when we get the text.
I know.
And then Kristen will be like, how dare you? Like, I'm like, listen, honey, I've always said anything we talk about on the air,
it's for the show.
Can never be used against us.
No.
We have a 4-hour show that we're doing every single day. What do you want us to do?
Liability.
Once we're down a path, we're going to talk about it. We owe it to our listeners. What do you want us to do? Not talk about it?
What I was going to say, and I haven't gotten a text message, so it might be good. Hold on. Let me see where she's at, actually.
Oh, great. Yes. Stalk Aaron.
Hold on.
Where is she?
Hold on. Let's see where she's at.
Is she home?
It looks like she is at.
Oh, she's at the card store.
No, it looks like she's at an appointment right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So everything's good. Everything's good.
Fine. She's not driving. Good. It's okay. If she asks how much something was, it's okay to lie a little bit.
No, is it? I mean, I don't know, but I'm not advocating that.
Well, again, if she goes, how much was that? And you go, And it was like $15.
Like comparable, depending on inflation.
I'm not saying, oh, it's like $15 and I spent $150 on it.
Do you subscribe to the theory of like, if it's not gonna,
yes,
it's not gonna hurt you?
Which she doesn't know won't hurt her. Now it's only like for some things, not for like everything.
Right. Like, okay. Like the example, me and you have been texting back and forth. I'm like, oh, I got this like Tatis card. I was going to give it to Jones. I'll just keep it. That's okay.
Oh, I have a bunch of cards that I was going to give to Jones to open up, and instead I opened them up in the bathroom.
He doesn't mind. No, I didn't open them in the bathroom, you idiot. Oh man.
But I just checked, and it looks like payment did go through.
I would hope so.
So that means I bought this card.
So you are officially an online auction card buyer.
Oh,
during the Jon and Jim radio show. You've hit rock bottom.
$46.
Well, yeah, they got to ship it to you.
Oh,
you just spent $50, but you haven't bought lunch all week.
I've been starving.
So you just don't eat.
I've starved myself for this $46 card.
What do you think about all this, Brent? What's going on here with me and Jim?
What's the card?
The card is
the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing is I wanted to make sure. So it is, let me look this up here. It's a base set, shadowless, holographic Nidoking. Brent's shaking his head.
The only thing that was in English and that was shadow.
No, shadowless.
Whatever. That's the only thing I understood in that entire sentence.
Okay, so you don't know. Okay.
So that's interesting to me. Hold on, text from Kristen.
Oh, seriously? Oh no, Kristen, we're so sorry. Please, nothing we said is true.
Aaron's number.
Nothing we
She's
said
got Aaron's
there.
Number.
It's all a bit. It's all a bit.
She's
Aaron.
got
It's all a bit, Kristen.
In fact, Kristen even, hold on, before I tell you what she said, Kristen even asked me the other day, but she's going to go away for work for a couple days in like a week, and I work till 6, and someone has to pick up Jones. She's like, do you think Aaron will pick up Jones from camp? I'm like, Aaron who? She's like, Russell. I'm like, no. Why would Aaron pick Jones up? But you guys are like 30 minutes south of us. So I shot that down immediately. It has nothing to do with what we're saying on air. It has nothing to do. It's nothing. He had a great day at camp.
That's great.
Nobody cared.
I was more concerned with if she was listening.
Is he at like camp, or is it like a specific
like day camps, just like sports camps, which is great, like swimming and playing basketball.
I didn't know he went to like a camping camp.
Yeah, just like no. Although I think he would enjoy that. I don't know if I would enjoy that. As in, I don't know how to camp.
How do you camp?
You know, you go outside and like
you sleep in the woods
and sleep, you
fish and stuff.
All right, so I'm looking at graded, like ungraded, shadowless base set Nidokings, like what they sell for and what the value is.
Yeah,
an ungraded one of these cards sells for $45,
and you just bought it for $45.
A PSA 8 is valued at $140.
And is yours graded or not graded that you just bought?
Not graded.
Okay, but that means there's upside. You get it graded, it could sell for $100, $200.
A PSA 9 is graded at $300, and a PSA 10 is graded at $1,500.
Perfect. Get it to a 10. Turn your $40 into $1,500, and tell Aaron you're welcome. We're gonna go move to La Jolla. All right, let's get to the wrap on the other side. If you missed Alex Faust from Apple TV, this is incredible. You'll hear that conversation. He's calling Padres Diamondbacks tomorrow. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Update: Jim deleted the app. The app that he bought the card on, it's gone. That's a smart decision. Seriously.
See, I needed that.
Yeah, it's smart.
I needed to do that because
smart.
I think, was the purchase I just made the smartest thing in the world? No. Did I go back and look and did I buy a card that's probably not worth that? Yes. But
Jim, I buy hats for $74.
Oh, that's a good point.
Honestly, I've spent $70 on a hat.
This is just, to me, like it's like a gateway. If I start with just one $40 card on whatnot,
it'll be another.
I'll be like, I can do 150.
We don't have to live in this. We can just live outside. I can use the money we're spending on mortgage and we can live outside.
Yeah, it's warm. It's warm every day.
It's warm.
Right.
It's like 65 out every day.
It's okay.
It's 100% right.
Yeah.
All right, Alex Faust at 4:30. Why don't we get to the wrap right now?
Time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
It's game 4, a must-win game for the Thunder.
100%.
I think it is, yeah.
They don't win game 4. Good luck.
It's going to have to be an epic.
Now, they are a team that could come back from down 3-1. They have the talent. They've been the best team all year. But, game 4 is a legacy game for the Thunder and SGA. If SGA goes out and puts together a, 40-point win in game 4, that would be massive. Like, I was thinking about 2022 when the Celtics were up 2-1 on the Warriors and Steph went out on the road, put 43 points up, took game 4, and they didn't look back and they won 3 straight and they won the NBA Finals. And that was like a legacy performance for Steph.
Mm-hmm.
Shea's going to need to have a really good game on Friday, which is tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Must win for the Thunder.
Hopefully he sleeps well in those beds. I don't know. I said, you're right. I mean, listen, the Thunder, I don't think it's easy, but I feel as if they're probably going to pull out a close one. You know what I mean? Like, these games have been close. If they pull out a close one, they're positioned to win the series. I do think it's a must-win game for the Thunder. And we'll see if they find a way or not. I'm rooting for the Pacers, though. Next question.
I'm sure he'll see flying as long as he doesn't have the same bet as Michael King.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is Caitlin Clark the most valuable athlete in any sport?
I could make an argument that she is.
I agree with that.
I think in any sport, any of the big 3, any other sport, you name it, she's, I believe, the most valuable athlete in all sports for their respective leagues.
Or like respective sport. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't make that argument for LeBron James. There's so many unbelievable NBA players. You couldn't make that. Could you make the argument for Shohei Ohtani? No, I think it's going too far, even though I do think he's the face of the sport. Can you make the argument for Patrick Mahomes? No, it's the NFL.
Patrick Mahomes can leave tomorrow and the Braves will still be
Can you
massive.
Make that argument for any current golfer? No. So you could make the argument, I'm with you, for Caitlin Clark. She means that much to the WNBA. That's almost inarguable what she means to the WNBA. Yeah. Next question.
Is game 4 a must-win for your Oilers?
Dude. Is that tonight?
That's tonight, John.
Where's that, in Florida?
That is in Florida. The Panthers are up 2-1 here.
Betting line. Panthers got to be favored tonight at home, obviously. They got to win tonight.
Florida's a minus 145.
Okay, it's not crazy.
Goal total is 6.5.
I mean, they got to win, right? Oilers going down 3-1 to the Panthers and winning the series. It's the same thing we just said. I mean, it's hard 3-1.
Well, they went down 3-0 last year, forced a game 7.
No, you're right. But they lost. Go Oilers. Give me a 7-game Stanley Cup. Give me that 7th game. Now, I don't remember last year's 7th game, but it must have been great. At least it was a 2-1 final.
It was a great game.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it, I think.
I was rooting hard for the Oilers.
We were into it. I remember
watching most of that game. Yep. I think I watched all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible.
I'm rooting for the Oilers in this series and tonight. I think if they win tonight, you're looking at a 7-game series. If not, they're in serious trouble. So go Oilers in Southern Florida tonight.
Come on, Oilers!
We're not asking for much.
Connor McDavid,
I'm looking at you, Connor McDavid. It's time for you to play better defense. Is he a defender?
I don't think so.
Is he a offender? All right, next question.
Oh, man. Just never talk about hockey again. But.
Will AJ Preller make a trade before the All-Star break?
For the All-Star break?
Which is in less than a month.
July. When is
or
it?
a month from now? Is it a month from now?
Yeah, it's like right on a month.
Oh, it's right on a month. July 14th, 15th, 16th. That's the All-Star break.
You think yes?
I think yes.
I'll go with you. Now, this is not, most teams don't. Like out of the 30,
Preller's not most teams.
I know,
though.
26 of them will not be making a move before the All-Star game would be my guess. But you're right. If there's a team that would consider doing it, especially with the issues they're dealing with, yeah, I could see AJ Preller doing it.
Because I think they are already looking, for another bat, and they have been looking for another bat for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think they make a move. I do, especially if this offense continues to just be blah. If the offense continues to be blah, say they have a bad road trip.
Yeah, you got to act.
I think AJ Preller does. I really do.
I mean, my preference, honestly, Jim, and you agree, and so do Padres fans. My preference is we see these players look like these players, and Tatis has a 4 home run road trip, and Merrill has a 3 home run road trip, and Luis Arraez has a 400 week, which he's done 100 times in his career, and we forget about it for a week, and they look like themselves.
Yeah.
And then it's really not as much of a concern. I mean, it's always a concern, but it's more of a concern when it's like glaring because of everything else going on. I prefer they go back to the 14-3 team. I know they're not going to play like that, but go show me what you showed me earlier, and I can put it off for a couple of weeks. But you keep playing like this, and it's going to be hard to put off.
It really is, especially if Tatis is going to struggle and Arraez is going to struggle. Your first 2 hitters in your lineup, man, it's just not clicking. Names, they have the names, but they're not performing on the field. They're not living up to their names. Like Fernando Tatis Jr. should not be a guy that for a month and a half is a sub 200 hitter. Luis Arraez, a 3-time batting champion, should not be this bad right now.
Right.
And it's not like they're 39. Tatis is 26 and Arraez is 28, 29.
Yeah, he may be 28. Yeah, 28 or 29. He's young enough, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The
one guy on this team that I have no faith in that's completely declining, that's Xander Bogaerts. We should not be saying that about Luis Arraez or Fernando Tatis Jr.
Right.
Because that's a problem if that's the case. And Fernando Tatis Jr. is never going to be the same player he was the first 3 years of his career, pre-PEDs. And then post-PEDs, he's going to look just, I'm not going to say average because he's not average, but just not anywhere close to what he was because I'm comparing himself to himself.
Do I have this right? Because I'm looking at Sheets. Sheets is not homered this month. Now, he was terrific in May, including late May. But have Sheets, Tatis, Merrill combined for no home runs this month? Tatis hasn't homered this month, correct?
I don't think Tatis is homered this month.
And Merrill hasn't homered.
I don't think Merrill has.
So that's a big part of
they're not hitting home runs. You heard the stat that we had. They're averaging like 0.73 home runs in the last month.
Manny's hit some here recently. He still hit like 7 in his last, whatever it is, 17, 18, 19 games. But you're right. Outside of Manny, it has been radio silent from the offense.
Yep.
All right, Alex Faust, he is calling tomorrow night's game for Apple TV. And if you missed our conversation from earlier, you're going to hear it next. Alex Faust calling Padres Diamondbacks tomorrow for Apple TV. On the other side, Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres, they have an off day today. They start a 7-game road trip. First up, tomorrow night, 3-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Game 3 of the NBA Finals last night went to the Indiana Pacers. They have a 2-1 lead. Game 4 tomorrow night in Indy. And looking at the U.S. Open leader scoreboard right now in Oakmont, as I pull it up here. John.
Maybe JJ Spawn at 4 under atop the leaderboard. Is that accurate?
That is still accurate. Yes. Good. JJ Spawn -4 under right now at the US Open. Is that a weird rattle in your HVAC system or the sound of expensive guessing? Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air will give you 3 real options guaranteed, or your visit is free. Nobody wows clients like we do. AndersonPHA.com.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. By the way, later this hour, you've got a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater a week from today, June 19th. So we'll do that coming up in about 10 minutes. Be listening for how you can win those tickets. But if you missed it earlier, Alex Faust, Apple TV, he'll be on the call tomorrow night for Padres and Diamondbacks. He joined us, and we started the conversation asking for his thoughts on the strong NL West to this point in the year.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be on with you guys. I think it really, even with that 3-game series of the Dodgers and the Padres, I think it was an example that it's still pretty close. But the biggest surprise, and maybe we shouldn't be surprised given what they did in the offseason, was how strong the Giants are. It's one thing to come out of the gate hot, but it seems like they've turned a corner from what was kind of a stale roster and kind of a stale situation there. That to me is the biggest surprise. And the question, I guess, for them is, do they have the staying power? Because I think we all expected it to be, if it was going to be a 2-horse race, it would have been between the Padres and the Giants, or between the Padres and the Dodgers, I should say. But it's still competitive. It's still compelling.
Yeah, and it's not just this division. I mean, the National League, I think it's superior to the American League, just as far as overall teams that are in competition here. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, totally agree with that. And part of what's driving the NL West as well, we have to remember, is the math involved with how bad the Rockies are and how teams are going to continue to beat up on them. It happened, remember, the last couple of years in the AL Central, and everybody's beating up on the White Sox, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, you get 3 teams in the playoffs. I think that's where the math is at right now for the NL West, as far as getting teams into the postseason. And it's interesting, we have this matchup coming up tomorrow on Friday Night Baseball, because Arizona was a team that was supposed to be in the mix for this, and because of it, to your point, how strong the National League is, all of a sudden they're on the outside looking in. They're barely 500 right now. So how do they factor into all this down the stretch? And I think this is a really, important stretch here for the Padres, especially, given how many games. I think they only have 1 off day in a 27-day stretch here.
Yeah. Alex Faust with us right now. He'll call Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus tomorrow. Padres and Diamondbacks from Arizona. Just looking at the Diamondbacks here, especially for our listeners in San Diego. I mean, everyone has known the name Corbin Carroll, but he spent a lot of last year down. I know he finished better, and he's had a remarkable start, hasn't he? I mean, the power's been there, the triples, his OPS is over 900. We talk locally about Manny. We can talk about Manny Machado moving forward, but Corbin Carroll has put together, I don't know if it's under the radar or not, he's put together one of the better years in the National League, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he looks a lot like the player who won the Rookie of the Year in 2023. He's a little bit banged up right now. They say he's got some soreness with a hamstring that he's dealing with right now. But I think the one thing that stands out to me is, although he's put together a good start to the season, just digging into it a little bit, there isn't quite as much chaos that he's creating out there on the base paths. No stolen bases his last 10, just 1 his last 21. But I mean, he enters today, he's been slugging like crazy. And that goes back to the end of last year as well. 1 homer shy of his 20 homer season to begin his big league. We're mid-June yet, and he's already at 20 home runs. So, I think a guy that doesn't quite get as much due as well is Ketel Marte. is just, year after year so solid for the Diamondbacks. I mean, you can make the argument that he's the best second baseman in baseball. He's slugging on fastballs better than Shohei Ohtani this year. And nobody seems to, pay attention to it. I think partly because playing in a smaller market in Arizona, but also just, you're right, the star power Corbin Carroll is kind of what drives that team. But Marte, he is legit too. And this Arizona team, if they could ever get a little bit of pitching, I mean, they'd be right back in the mix again.
Yeah, we know how difficult it's been the last couple of years, for the Padres to play in Arizona at that ballpark. On the flip side here, Alex, Manny Machado, if you're looking at the Padres offense, he's probably the one player in the offense that has been as consistent as could be here. Just what do you make of just Manny Machado? He just recently has 350th home run of his career. He's on pace to, get, around 3,000 hits. Like he is just a guy right now who is playing so consistent and at a level where we're watching a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think that's what the point we're really going to drive home. He's going to be leading off the Open to our show tomorrow. You think about it this way. He's the only player right now in the big leagues to have hit at least 28 home runs in 9 straight full seasons. That's excluding the COVID year, of course. Even though he's never won a World Series title, he hasn't won a Gold Glove in a decade. Like, this is a guy who is under the radar, one of the most complete players in the game. So durable, too. I mean, you think about how little time he's missed in his career. Based on the numbers that he's put up to begin this season, I mean, you could throw him in the early shortlist for MVP candidates. You mentioned, the 350 homer mark that he had. Just 102 baseball players ever have done that. That's pretty remarkable. Closing in on 2,000 hits. And there was a great article by Dennis Lin in The Athletic doing a deep dive to your point about, could he get 3,000? I mean, that's turning into almost one of those unicorn numbers, right? 300 wins for a pitcher, 3,000 hits for a hitter. There's a legit shot of doing it because of the way he's held up for as long as he has. And, I don't think he gets, again, enough respect nationally for what he's done. I think defensively, too. You think about what he does year after year. I was shocked that he hadn't won a Gold Glove in a decade. Yeah. And yet he's as smooth as it gets. One of my favorite memories calling baseball last year, I was doing a Tuesday game for TBS. It was the game that the Padres clinched. And it was that triple play at the end of the game. And he's on it, right? At the end of the game. It's remarkable year after year what he does. And I think what's even more impressive is how much of a leader he's turned into, right? Because his reputation in Baltimore was this, brash kid, right? And who knew, what it was going to evolve into over the long haul. But man, has he turned into such a great leader for this ball club.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, as consistent as he is, he's still only 32. I mean, you hit 28 home runs a year for the next 5 years. 5 times 30 is 150. I mean, he's certainly, it's within the realm of possibility. It's almost likely potentially Machado gets to 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. Alex Faust is with us right now. Now, the rest of the offense, Alex, has really struggled. We just read through some numbers over the last month. The Padres have been among the worst offenses in the sport over the last month. Guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. going through it, a Luis Arraez, even a Jackson Merrill or a Gavin Sheets. Are you surprised by that? You look at this lineup on paper, it looks to be among the better ones in the sport, but it's not played out that way.
Yeah, I think truly, and I know Arraez is a big part of it, getting on base and, setting the tone at the top. If Tatis isn't going, this team isn't going. I think it's as simple as that. I mean, his swoon since the start of May, I know he has said that he doesn't feel that there's a connection, but I just keep thinking back to that hit by pitch he took in Pittsburgh at the beginning of May. And ever since then, he just looks all out of sorts. And he still is, at the point where he hasn't been able to disconnect offensive struggles from everything else. And he's wearing it a little bit. He's showing it a little bit. And it's, easier said than done to try and put on a poker face. But I do think that as he goes, this team goes, right? You need that bat in the middle of your order. The other things of this team that stands out, just digging into the numbers a little bit, is late in games. Who is going to step up in the clutch? This team is hitting just 201 from the 7th inning onward. Just 169 with runners in scoring position from the 7th inning onward. you're not winning. I mean, you played so many close games this year, and I know that they have a decent record in one-run games. But man, you should be able to put games away with a lineup like this. You shouldn't have to play 1- and 2-run games. And heaven forbid you have a little bit of a bobble with what's been a terrific bullpen. You run the risk of dropping games and slipping out of those coveted home field spots, or even just in the race for the division writ large. So I think this, to simplify it, it's if Tatis is going, this team is going. Until Tuesday's win against the Dodgers, the previous 9 games for the Padres have been decided by a total of 11 combined runs over the previous 9 games. So you need, whether it's Tatis or somebody else, but I do think it's going to be Tatis who has to drive the bus here.
Yeah, it's been very nerve-wracking around here in San Diego for the last month or so, because after the 21 nothing win over the Rockies, it was just they were playing nothing but close games until Tuesday night, as you mentioned. And back to the offense here, Alex. So in your opinion, when you look at AJ Preller, he's going to make a move. Like, he's going to make multiple moves, right? Would you think that offense is their number one priority here, or do you think if they have guys in the lineup that just end up hitting, they can be okay, or where do you think their biggest need is going here into the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say that, because as you mentioned, on paper, guys who are usually standbys are not producing right now. The biggest issue is in left field. That just continues to be a drag with how many players that the Padres have had to plug in and left. They continue to have one of the lowest OPSs from that position. I know Jason Hayward is on his way back, but is that an answer? I don't know. I think you're right. They're going to be searching for a bat, but it's probably going to be to try to fill that hole right now in left field more so than anything else. This will be a really good measuring stick, right? This is a large chunk of division play here. And I know the Padres are 10-5 against division opponents, but I think we saw plainly how, when the offense sputters against decent pitching, it's going to wind up being a short trip in the postseason if they can't do that. So they've got to prioritize the bat, and it's probably going to be an outfielder.
Alex, appreciate you taking time for us. We'll be watching tomorrow night, Padres Diamondbacks. Again, for our listeners, you can watch it Apple TV Plus, Friday Night Baseball. We've talked before about how good of a production it is. So we're looking forward to seeing Friday night Padres and Diamondbacks in the division for the first time here in 2025. Alex, thank you. Enjoyed it. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah, I'd appreciate you guys.
All right, call right now if you want. Listen, that's 4 free tickets to see Dierks Bentley, not 2, Jim.
So
everything must go.
Everything's got to go.
Everything's got to go. So we have a 4-pack of tickets. A 4-pack of tickets for Dierks Bentley. It's 1 week from tonight at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That's an amazing giveaway. First 2 callers will be contestants for trivia. All you need to do is call right now. One of you is going to win a 4-pack of free tickets to see Dierks Bentley. The number to call, 877-767-4760. If you want that free 4-pack of tickets for a week from tonight at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, call right now. 877-767-4760. That's next. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. We're going to get back to the Padres offensive woes at 5 p.m. Jim did a deep dive earlier today by looking at Kyle Glazer's tweet.
Yeah, that was my extensive research this morning.
I mean, I didn't see it, so I'm glad you found it or saw it.
Yeah.
Or read it. Is that when you woke up and you, boom, there was
Kyle's
Kyle's
the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning.
It was or was not?
It was not, but
Okay.
I saw it later in the day.
All
so
right.
I was like, ooh, juicy nuggets.
A lot of juicy nuggets.
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, the offensive woes in a factual display. We'll share that with you coming up at 5 p.m. Because earlier in the show, we talked about some of these offensive issues for the Padres, and people were like, oh, man, you're so down on this offense. Like, well, it's not. We wouldn't be down on the offense if the offense looked like the offense, like the first month of the season or in 2024. It's not that we're down on the offense, just the offense has been down. And I think that's an accurate statement. So we'll get into that coming up at 5 p.m. Did we just lose caller 2? Who is that? Rena, who's on the line? Is that how we say it? Rena. Who wants to play Rena for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to Dierks Bentley? Call right now. We have a free 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley a week from tonight. All you need to do is call 877-767-4760. We just lost our second caller. So if you want to play for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, it's a week from tonight. An amazing giveaway. Call right now, 877-767-4760. Do you have a favorite Dierks Bentley song?
That one song.
Snakes on a Plane or Drunk on a Plane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one song.
Good.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
The one song that goes,
Are you serious or not?
I'm not serious, John.
Yeah, I like that one.
And Aaron would be ashamed because
she likes him.
She likes Dierks Bentley.
Drunk on a Plane. I'm getting drunk on a plane. That one?
Yeah, the
drunk on a plane. I think that's how it goes. All right, we have our second caller. So without further ado, as Brent's getting the callers ready, we're going to play for this 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley sing Drunk on a Plane.
It's a good song.
Three questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Raina and we have Neil. Raina, you called in first. You have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Yep.
What'd you say, Raina?
She said, yep.
Oh, give me a Jon or Jim. Who do you want to play with today?
Jim, please.
All right, cool. So your partner's Jim. That means Neil. Your partner's Jon. Okay, you there, Neil?
Got it. Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. All right, Brent, what is the question of the day?
All right, guys, the NBA Finals are well underway now. Today's question, can you name the 10 players with the most points scored in this postseason? So we're looking for the 10 players with the most points just in the postseason, not the regular season.
All right. Neil, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
SGA.
That's a good guess.
Got to be number 1, I would assume.
He's number 1 by a good amount.
Wide margin.
Yeah. Raina, you're up next. What's your first guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Giannis?
No.
Wait, is this Neil or was that Raina?
No, Neil, guess first. Raina's up now. Raina, you there?
Yeah.
All right. What's your first guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use
Raina,
it.
you can't switch contestants here. It seems like you talked once and then somebody else just talked.
Yeah, what's going on here? Raina, you there?
Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic?
Nikola Jokic.
Not on the list.
Not on the list.
Okay, let's keep going here.
Neil, what's your second guess? Do you have a lifeline if you want to use it?
Halliburton.
Wait, time out.
He was on the list. I missed.
Okay, Jokic is on the list. Okay, this is a bit of a train wreck.
Radio.
So let's just reset for a second. Neil has 1 point. Raina has 1 point. We're playing on here into the second round. It's Neil's second guess. Neil, what did you just say?
Tyrese Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton. Is he on the list? I would assume yes. Playing in the finals. He is on the list.
All right. Raina, you're up next. What is your second guess? Do you have a lifeline if you want to use it?
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum. Was hurt and only played what, 1 round, or was it the second round?
I played 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5 rounds. Right?
Neil, you could win the walk-off here. What is your final guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I have an idea, John, but give me a lifeline. What do you think?
You want a lifeline? I have a couple of names I'm thinking about in the finals. And then, I'll go with Pascal Siakam, who was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
All right, I'll go with that.
Siakam for the win. Boom. How about that? He's just a solid. I mean, he's playing all these games, now the extra games.
The more games you play, you're probably going to have a
decent chance. Plus, his Eastern Conference Finals was really good. He averaged like 24, 25.
Yeah.
So I knew that.
Yeah. I bet you could probably. Jalen Brunson. Is he up there?
Yeah, he's number 2.
Jalen Williams of Oklahoma City.
He's number 4.
Chet Holmgren on the list?
No, he's 11th.
He's 11th.
He sucks.
Yeah. He was awful in the fourth quarter yesterday.
He's bad.
He was awful in the fourth or late down the stretch. Who else is on the list, Brett?
All right, Shea's number 1. He's not up by that much. He's only about 40 points up on Brunson, considering he's played a couple extra games. Then Siakam, then Jalen Williams, then Cat. Ant-Man is 6. The Joker is 7. Halliburton is 8. Julius Randle is 9. And then Jamal Murray is 10th.
Jamal Murray was 10th over Chet Holmgren, who is 11th on that list. All right.
By 1 point.
Wait. Okay, so Chet Holmgren will pass him, but it'll be after this question. All right, so congratulations to Neil, because you have won a 4-pack of tickets to see Dierks Bentley. And that's coming up a week from tonight. That's June 19th. It'll be at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. And by the way, if you want to go, there are tickets available right now at Ticketmaster.com. That's right, Ticketmaster.com if you want to see Dierks Bentley a week from tonight at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That is so Shea's postseason again. It's going to be historically good if they win it all.
And if they lose, then it's going to be kind of forgetful.
A little empty. Well, not fully empty. They're still in the finals, and he's still going to lead them in scoring. And so I wouldn't say it's fully empty, but yeah, maybe, because they went 68-14 in the regular season.
Look, if Steph Curry is going to get all that criticism for that 2016 finals,
then we're going to criticize Shea.
That's Shea's going to get criticized.
That's fair. Completely. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Correct.
He's their best player.
Even though Shea has put up some just gaudy numbers, he's the head of the snake. He is the leader of that team. He's the best player on that team. And by the way, he's the MVP of the league. Yes. So when the MVP of the league, if they end up losing this finals, that's going to be the first person you talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Shea's a very quiet guy. He's not in the public eye. Not a lot of
good point.
He's not talked about a lot. He's just like a solid, really, really good player, but he's not a superstar.
That's a good point.
Yet. I thought Magic Johnson, even though First Take is mind numbing.
He was on First Take?
Magic Johnson was on First Take this morning, and he had a great take on how he would define a superstar player in the NBA.
Which is how?
Which is, am I going to buy a ticket to watch that player on the road? Like, if that player is coming to my hometown, do I have to buy a ticket to watch that player?
Right. When Shea's in Philly, are people lining up at the box office to see him?
No. And the thing is, if you define a superstar player that way, there's very few in the league that you're buying a ticket for.
Well, okay. Here's who I'm buying. I'm glad you said that. I mean, again, the old guard, LeBron, Steph, completely fair. Absolutely. New guard, Victor Wembanyama. Buying a ticket? See Wemby? I think a lot of people are.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, he is really a freak of nature.
Luka, you're buying a ticket.
Luka, you're buying a ticket for.
Giannis, you buying a ticket to watch Giannis play?
I think when he was younger, maybe more so than today.
I mean, he's a superstar player.
Yeah.
Like player, but like superstar as far as like off the court and everything. I mean, I'd watch Giannis play.
No, we definitely watch it. Are you buying a ticket to watch Jalen Brunson play?
No.
Are you buying a ticket at this point in the career of Kawhi Leonard?
Probably not.
Who are we buying? Are you buying a ticket to watch Jokic? I'm not.
Probably not.
Although he's brilliant.
Actually, I might. I think
really?
I take that back. I might. I would buy a ticket to watch Jokic. Yeah, I would, because he's just like, he could put up a 40, 30, 20 night.
Embiid?
Who?
Tatum?
No. I'm not like running to the ticket box office to buy one to watch Jason Tatum.
So who actually is on this list? LeBron, Steph.
LeBron, Steph, Luka.
I like Wemby on that list.
Jokic.
I'm putting Wemby over Jokic.
Giannis. Fine, Wemby.
I think Wemby over Giannis and Jokic.
Now, this doesn't mean, I'm not saying like those are the only quote unquote superstar players on the court in the NBA. I'm saying those are like maybe the 6 guys,
big ticket,
that you would drop a couple $100 to go play a basketball game.
Do you know why Wemby's earning major points with me this offseason? Did you see where he's training and spending his offseason?
No.
At a Shaolin monk temple, like Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, it's over for the league.
It's on.
Yeah.
It's on.
Over for the league, dude.
He really does want to be Kareem.
Yeah.
It is over.
It's over.
Change his name.
All right. On the other side, let's get back into the Padres' offensive woes from a numerical perspective, thanks to our friend Kyle Glazer with the Friar Territory podcast. Plus, if you missed Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest, you'll hear that conversation in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We are here until 6 p.m. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by WhatsApp. Padres off day today. They start a 7-game road trip through Arizona and LA starting tomorrow night in the desert. The NBA Finals last night, Game 3. Pacers took down the Thunder. They have a 2-1 lead. Game 4 will be tomorrow night in Indy. And looking at the U.S. Open leaderboard right now, Aztec for Life, JJ Spawn leads the tournament at 4 under par. On WhatsApp, your personal messages stay private. So things like those selfies from last weekend's party stay between you and your bestie, because on WhatsApp, your personal messages are yours. No one else can see or hear them, not even them. WhatsApp, message privately with everyone.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. We're getting you ready for tomorrow when the Padres return to the field in Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks. It will begin a 7-game road trip through Arizona and then through Dodger Stadium to once again take on LA. So that's the next 7 for the Padres, plus the U.S. Open. Round 1, I think it's complete, or it's about to be complete. Ryan Harrington Golf Digest, you'll hear that coming up at 5:30. We started the show. We didn't mean to start the show here because Jim had this all planned out, but I went down some path and it led us right into this conversation that Kyle Glaser, he detailed it on social media today, right, Jim, where he talked about the Padres' offensive ranks over the last month. It's not pretty. I mean, it's really the opposite of pretty, what they've done over the last month on offense. And again, people want to talk about the fact that they're 9 games over 500. I think that's fair. They want to talk about the fact that they're only a couple of games out of first place. Again, all fair. But if you want to talk about that, I think it's also fair to talk about these struggles, and they are serious struggles that this team has had here over the last month. Got the tweet?
Yeah. So Kyle Glaser, shout out to
friend of the show.
To him, friend of the show. Yes. This morning, he put out the Padres offensive ranks over the last month.
Mm-hmm.
Not a small sample size, guys. Not a week, not 2 weeks, since May 1st, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Their batting average, 219, tied for 29th in baseball. Their on-base percentage, 287, 30th in baseball. It's dead last. Their slugging percentage as a team, 331, dead last in baseball. Their OPS as a team, 618, dead last in baseball. Runs per game as a team, 3.5, tied for 26th in baseball. Home runs per game, and I'm actually surprised that they're not dead last in baseball, is 0.27 home runs a game.
No, 0.72.
Sorry, 0.72 home runs per game. That is 29th in all of baseball.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying that the Padres offense has been a huge problem over the last month.
I mean, it's amazing when you hear it. I didn't think it would be that bad, truthfully. I really didn't.
Also, he put out some more stats.
Okay.
They've scored 3 runs or less in 17 of 29 games. And their 618 OPS obviously is the worst in baseball in that time frame.
It's almost amazing to me they've stayed afloat with those numbers because their pitching has been good at times. They've gotten a lot out of guys like Stephen Kolek or Ryan Berger to the back of this bullpen. And how many times we said, like, is this sustainable winning games 1-0? I mean, they're winning games in Milwaukee 1-0. You know, they've won a couple of games 1-0 or 2-1. That it's hard to win when you're scoring 2 or fewer runs in a game, yet they've won some of those games. Are they going to keep doing that? Are they going to score 2 runs in Arizona and win 2 out of 3? And you know,
yeah, and they're putting just so much pressure on themselves, and especially their pitching staff and their bullpen, because the games that they're winning here, other than Tuesday night, which was much needed. I mean, they needed that. Yeah. They needed that game in the worst way to just have a laugher. no stress. That game was over by the 6th, obviously, because they waved the white flag and they put in Kike Hernandez. But listen to some of these wins over the last month, dating back to after the 21-0 win against Colorado, which was over a month ago. They won a game 6-4. Now they won a game 5-1 against the Angels. That's good. They won a game in Atlanta 2-1. They won a game in Atlanta 5-3. They beat the Marlins here 4-3, then 8-6. They won a game against the Pirates 3-2. They beat the Pirates then again 6-4. They beat the Giants in San Francisco 1-0. Then they beat them 3-2. Then they beat Milwaukee 2-0. Then they beat Milwaukee 1-0.
So like all these 2 runs or 1-run wins.
Yes.
All these closely played throughout, which also brings us to the point to full circle it that your bullpen is pitching in high leverage spot after high leverage spot, which is a lot to ask over the course of 6 months. They've done a nice job. I mean, the Morahones and the Estradas and the Jason Adams, by and large, I know Adam hasn't been as good, and obviously Robert Soares has been terrific, but can you maintain that clip and that pace over 6 months, just trying to hold 1 and 2 run leads all year long? And I don't know.
And I'm not even talking about the other games that they lost that were close, like losing in Toronto 7-6, losing to the Marlins 10-8, losing in San Francisco 6-5 and then 3-2, and then losing in Milwaukee 4-3, and then earlier in May losing to losing to the Yankees 4-3. Like, there are still, even in losses, close games. They're not getting blown out. So it's like, put all the wins that they've had that were close games and also put together the losses that were close games, because I'm sure if I go back and look, that's not like they just didn't use any of their A team in the bullpen those days.
Yesterday is the perfect example. They lose a game yesterday where they turn to Jeremiah Estrada and Adrian Morahone and Jason Adam, and they chase the game down and they can't win. It's a good point. I think Mike Schultz has said, I've heard him say it in the last 3 days, that he believes they'll be better off for all the close games they've played. We'll find out if that's true or not. I mean, they've been in, and even Manny Machado yesterday, I heard the entire conversation he had with the media postgame. He kind of pushed back at the idea that this was the most playoff type environment at Petco this year. Is like every game we play is like a playoff environment. So like they feel as if they've been in these situations a lot. They're winning a lot of close games. They'll be better off for winning close games later in the year. And we'll see if that's the case or not. I think the flip side of that coin is, can you really keep winning games 2-1 and 3-2 all year long?
No.
I don't think so at the same clip would be my guess. Because they've been really good in those close games.
And their remaining schedule, by the way, guys, leading up to the All-Star break,
give it to me.
It's difficult. So the 7-game road trip here through Arizona and LA. And they come home for a 6-game homestand against the Royals and the Don't Call Me San Diego Padre Washington Nationals.
Right, with all the former Padres.
Right.
Yeah.
And they go on the road for 6 through Cincinnati and Philadelphia.
Okay, yeah. Not the easiest thing in the world.
Then they come home for a long homestand before the All-Star break. They play 3 against the Rangers, 4 against Arizona, and they finish up the first half with 3 against the Phillies.
Yeah, it's not easy. I agree.
And then, of course, they start
the
second half, which is it's Comic-Con week, so they're on a long road trip. Washington, Miami, St. Louis, and then you play the Mets, St. Louis. I'm just reading the whole schedule.
Just do the whole schedule.
Arizona, Boston, San Francisco, Dodgers, Seattle, Vetter Cup, Minnesota, Baltimore, Colorado, Cincinnati, Colorado, Mets, White Sox, Brewers. And you finish up your year with 3 at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
What's the start time of the second game of that Diamondback series to finish the year?
5:40, John.
Thank you.
Do you need to know what the start time of the third game against the Cincinnati Reds is on September 10th? Because I have it.
No, but I need to know the probables.
The probables that day, John, if I look here, it's TBD.
Pitcher versus pitcher.
It's TBD versus TBD.
Oh, they don't have it in there yet?
But it's a 5:40 start.
They haven't put the probables in?
No.
Come on.
Now, do you need to know what the start time is on September 19th against the Chicago White Sox in
5:40?
Chicago? 4:40.
That wasn't bad. That's pretty close.
Not bad at all. Do you think the Pope will be watching those games?
No. Truthful. I mean, maybe. but I would be surprised.
Do you think the Pope at any point in his life thought to himself, I can't believe we traded away Fernando Tatis Jr.
Like, has that
for
thought
James
crossed his mind? That is like, yeah, it's such a good point. Like, has the Pope spent time thinking about the Tatis deal?
Like thinking like we could have had Fernando Tatis Jr.
Do you think he uses we?
He
was at the last World Series home game for the White Sox. Isn't that correct? Because we saw photos.
Yes.
So that year he was at the World Series, game 1 or 2. I want to say
at game 2.
He was at game 2 of the World Series. So yes, I think he's thought about the Tatis trade. He has texted back and forth with the associate AD at Villanova about Josh Hart. So if you've texted back and forth with the associate AD at Villanova about Josh Hart, you're not thrilled about the Tatis deal.
Yep.
And you're probably seeking divine intervention to get him back. Although maybe he's watching now like, what happened to Tatis? Ever since I became Pope, this guy is a shell of himself.
It really is true, yeah.
Isn't that true? Like, how long has he been Pope? Because Tatis hasn't done anything.
A little over a month.
And you're blaming me.
Man. So are we blaming the Pope?
I don't blame it, Tatis.
I don't think we're going to blame the Pope on this one.
Let's get your phone calls on the other side. 877-767-4760 if you want to weigh in on the offensive woes of the San Diego Padres as they get ready for the Diamondbacks tomorrow night in Arizona. 877-767-4760. You can always text us as well. 70470. Start it with the word team. We are here until 6 p.m. Ryan Harrington Golf Digest at 5:30. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is Jon and Jim again for our friends over at Jamul Casino, the all-new Jamul Casino, the Players' Place. Get there this weekend, Saturday, just a couple of days away. Kick off summer with Jamul. Listen to this: $20 free play for everyone, 6 a.m. to midnight. Free food for all from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Jive Lounge. It's an event you're not going to want to miss. Join them. Start your summer off right.
And Father's Day brunch, Sean, is this Sunday at Prime Cut from 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. You can show Dad just how much he means to you with a decadent brunch at Prime Cut featuring lobster tails and hand-carved prime rib. Make his day extra special with a meal that he'll love.
Also this weekend, watch the Padres at Jamul, watch the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup as well over at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, where fandom meets fantastic at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, Thursday afternoon. With you until 6. If you missed Ryan Harrington Golf Digest, what a day at Oakmont. Is the day over at Oakmont, Jim? Let me take a quick look. Then we'll get your calls.
Well, I think it would be because it's
10 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't think there's any light out.
Yeah, good point. No, you're right. You're 100% right. I see James Nicklaus in the leaderboard. It says 17 with an asterisk. Does that mean maybe you had to stop because of, it's like dark?
Probably that's what it means, John.
Oh, no, it means 10th hole tee start.
Oh, okay.
But you're right. Are they still out there at 8:20 at night?
No, they're not, John.
Okay.
They're not. So.
Well, anyway, JJ Spawn is 4 under at the Aztec.
Got Brooks Koepka at 2 under.
Right.
Looking at some notable names. Adam Scott's even.
Mm-hmm. There's my guy Justin Hastings. Might have fallen off there.
Colin Morikawa's even par.
Yeah.
Just continuing to look this. Your boy Xander's at plus two.
Hastings is +3, the Aztec amateur.
Mm-hmm.
All those players in the top 50.
Bryson DeChambeau's +3, along with Scotty Scheffler, who's +3.
Yep.
Rory's +4 on the day. Phil's +4 on the day.
Okay.
So it's a U.S. Open leaderboard right now, for sure.
Well, we'll hear from Ryan Harrington coming up at 5:30, managing editor or editor.
I like the editors that we have on the show.
Let's go to the phones. 877-767-4760. Dave back with us here on Jon and Jim. Dave, thanks for calling in, man.
Well, I hope you guys can hear me better today than yesterday. Sorry about the cell phones dropping.
We got
you perfectly.
Outstanding. Okay, so where I wanted to pick up yesterday, a few things. First of all, the Padres have more holes than Swiss cheese coming from Switzerland at this point. You know that. I know that.
Oh,
we all know that, right?
Right.
We all know that. So we've got red flags all over the place. The trends now are definite. This is no longer a 1 week bad week off, and then they're back to normal. The new normal is, I think, what you see, and the trend is definitely not their friend. So here it is. We've got a real nightmare in our hands here because everybody keeps talking about, well, AJ's going to do this and that. Again, I remind anyone that wants to listen to this, the truth of the matter is you have to have a trade partner. That means the trade partner has to look at the Padres and say, yeah, you got something that I want. Now, Jim Bowden can talk all he wants about who the Padres should get. I'm going to talk about who should they give up. Are you looking at who do they have that is marketable at this point? You got Dylan Cease, you got Mike King, and you got Leonard DeVries, right? That's it.
Leonard.
I mean, you can't trade bags of rocks for bags of rocks, guys.
We've had this convo though, Dave. That they're not trading Michael King or Dylan Cease.
No.
First of all,
I understand that.
Yeah,
John, I understand that. Let me finish.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying in terms of using the example of what they've got that's tradable that another team might want. That's what they're going to hear. Now, what else have they got? That's my challenge back to you all.
Well, okay. This is what I would say, Dave. I mean, AJ Preller has been through this he's been through this before. This isn't his first trade deadline. He has players in his system that he can use at the deadline. Okay, let's be honest. And it's not just Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas. There are other players in his system that will provide value to the organization. Now, how much value, that remains to be seen. But it's not like the only two players you could possibly move in the entire organization, major or minor leagues, are DeVries and Salas. There's no way that's true. They have good pitching talent in the minor leagues. I don't know all about it, but we've talked about it before. We'll get people on from Mad Friars between now and the deadline, right?
David.
But I mean, it's not like it's just DeVries and Salas. And to his point, I get it. He's saying we're not trading, the Padres aren't trading a King or a Cease, nor should they. And also, there's no Juan Soto generational player that is out there. You're not asking them to go out and get. We're talking about Taylor Ward. He's hitting 200. Yeah, he hits for power, but we're not talking about going to get the next Juan Soto. So my point is, they can make upgrades. Trust me, I guarantee it. He'll make upgrades at the deadline.
Yeah, this whenever they trade for somebody this year, there are going to be some names that I'm sure some fans have not heard of. But when you look at the top guys in this organization, the Leo DeVries and Ethan Salases, those guys aren't going anywhere. And nor do they need to go anywhere to get some pieces that can really help your team. It's not like you're sitting here and be like, the only way to get somebody to help this team is by trading Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas. Like, no. They can go out, and I bet they could, I mean, I don't know if they could do it, but a guy like Jarren Duran, I'm sure the Red Sox would ask for Ethan Salas or Leo DeVries, but it's not going to, I feel like, stop the conversation.
That might be a harder name.
That might be a harder name for sure.
He's a very productive.
Right.
You've said it multiple times, coming off a 9-WAR season. I mean, that's an amazing year in the major leagues.
Yeah.
But if you step back from Duran and go to the next,
but I can tell you for sure, Taylor Ward is not going to cost Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just Taylor Ward, by the way.
There's other players out there.
So today's point, and you're right, it's going to take two to tango. But I don't think AJ is going to be so laser focused on one player. If you can't get Jarren Duran, you pivot.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get Taylor Ward, you pivot. I mean, there's going to be, a dozen outfield types available, I'm sure. Now you're looking for a right-handed bat. So that might narrow it down a little bit. You're going to take some lefties out of there. And you're going to, yes, is it going to be a buyer's market or a seller's market? All of it is fair. There's competition for these players. There's other teams that are trying to improve. But AJ won't be completely handcuffed by his system.
No,
I don't think. He'll make upgrades. No. He will definitely. And listen, you and I agree. DeVries is going nowhere. I don't think Ethan Salas is going anywhere. I wouldn't be shocked, jaw-dropped shocked, if Ethan Salas moved in some type of sizable move for a controllable player. Things happen. Things do change. I don't think I'd sell Salas this low, hurt, and this early in his career.
No, I wouldn't either. But I'd be tempted.
Right. Exactly.
Just because I'm very impatient. I'm not saying AJ Preller is impatient, but he has shown impatient qualities.
Yeah, in his career.
Some trades that he's made, they're very impatient. I want to win now trades.
Good point.
Juan Soto, he was the only guy that was going to make that deal.
Yeah, Preller.
Yeah, if you're Rizzo for the Nationals, you're every night you go to sleep, you're thanking God that AJ Preller made that trade with you, because you actually now have some legit pieces. You're not a winning baseball team yet,
right? But James Wood is the real deal.
James Wood will be an all-star. CJ Abrams is already an all-star, I think, in Washington.
Yeah, maybe.
Mackenzie Gore could be an all-star.
Yeah.
I don't know what Robert Hassel's doing for them, but
he's only been up briefly, I want to say. But yeah, it's a fair point. They got pieces. That's kind of the point of a trade. Yeah, Hassel only has 63 bats. He's hit 238. But James Wood has had a great year, a terrific year. But that's the point. You got Juan Soto. The Padres aren't in a position because of all the trades they've made that they can't make a trade because their system is completely bare.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they can get the players that everyone's hoping they're going to get. I don't know if they can get Jarren Duran, but they can absolutely get players. And they can help this team. So they will. I guarantee it. And trust AJ Preller.
Trust the process?
And trust the process. All right, let's hear from Ryan Harrington. On the other side, managing editor, Golf Digest, U.S. Open, round 1 at Oakmont in Western Pennsylvania, where an Aztec is atop the leaderboard right now. J.J. Spawn shot a 66 4-under par, bogey-free today at Oakmont. We'll catch up with Ryan Harrington on the other side here until 6 p.m. This is Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again for our friends over at Loan Pronto. And if you are maxed out on credit cards or struggling with high interest debt, you could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The rapid equity loan program at Loan Pronto is truly amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours, so use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Call now to start the conversation. Here's the number, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. Get debt relief now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. All right, this update is brought to you by Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival. Atop the leaderboard at the U.S. Open is JJ Spawn, the Aztec for life. He is 4 under par. Padres and Diamondbacks kick off a 3-game series tomorrow in the desert. I don't know what time that game is, but they do start that series tomorrow in the desert. Do you know the pitching matchup tomorrow? 6:40 is the first pitch time. It'll be the Padres team against the Diamondbacks team. Game 1 of a 3-game series. Game 4 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night. Pacers lead the Thunder 2-1. Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Music Festival happening June 20th through the 22nd, featuring Walker Hayes, Cody Jinks. You took it down, you idiot. Alabama and more. Tickets are available now at TemeculaValleyFestival.com, powering the best events from start to finish. Events.com. Give me a raise. That's your job. What happened?
Okay.
What happened?
Let's just say my time management there for the break was not
Because you were pounding
good
food.
I as soon as Brent hit the trending bet open, like simultaneously, I put a piece of candy in my mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no.
And then I'm like, all right, well, show me the read. And then you wanted to take over. He wanted to be like Suarez and close it out. It's like, no, I'm going 9, dude.
Going complete game.
I'm doing the like
Going
Stephen Kolek at Colorado.
You're like, give me the ball.
I'm taking this thing and running with it.
It was pretty much, remember that old milk commercial when the guy's trying to win the radio contest right after he took the bite of the peanut butter sandwich?
Yeah, couldn't talk. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, you need me? You let me know.
You did a good job, John.
I didn't know the pitching matchup. I didn't know the time. And I stalled with the Padres team takes on the Diamondbacks.
Well, it's okay because I haven't said the time of the game tomorrow.
Yeah, we just
one time
night,
today.
Right.
I just tomorrow night start a 3-game series.
Who is pitching seriously tomorrow?
Good question, John. I'm gonna go with Stephen Kolek.
Yeah, it's him and it's Ryan.
Because it was just Vasquez, right?
Stephen Kolek and Ryan Nelson.
Oh, Ryan Nelson. Yeah, Ryan Nelson.
Ryan
Nelson.
Ryan.
All right. Speaking of Ryan Harrington, managing editor, Golf Digest, joined us earlier to talk about round one of the U.S. Open and the day for JJ Spawn, the Aztec for life, shooting a 66. He's atop the leaderboard. What does Ryan think about his start to this tournament?
Yeah, it was really impressive. I talked to him after the round and wrote a story for Golf Digest about him. You know, he's never played Oakmont before. He's only played in one U.S. Open before. It was at Torrey Pines, and he played really badly. And, you know, he came in trying to, like, drown out all the noise about how difficult Oakmont is, and had a new putting coach that he started to use earlier this weekend. He was great on the greens, a bogey-free 66. It's only the 8th time that somebody has played a U.S. Open at Oakmont bogey-free. And right now he's one on the lead and looks like he's going to, you know, be in contention, obviously heading into the next couple of days. A really impressive start.
Yeah, that's a very, very impressive start. If you look at Scotty Scheffler's start to the Open, not the greatest. Do you still put him in he's the golfer to beat just because he's had such a fantastic year, even though, you know, not a great first round here?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. He's about to bogey the 15th hole, so he's going to be 3 over. And, you know, it's starting to put himself a little farther back on the leaderboard than he wants to. But, no, this is a guy who is definitely the number one ranked golfer in the world for a reason. He's hitting the ball so well, and he can catch up on this golf course quicker than anybody else. So as long as he doesn't go too high today, you know, he's still going to be a factor. He's got the opportunity to go out tomorrow morning early before maybe the rain and some of the bad weather comes through here and put, you know, catch up a little bit and whatnot. So I'm not worried necessarily about him, although he's been a little bit more off than I would have anticipated.
Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest, with us from Oakmont. This might be a dumb question, so tell me if it is.
It's dumb.
It probably is. What makes Oakmont the most difficult course in the world?
You know, it's a combination of factors. First of all, the rough here is this 5-inch thick rough, and it's just the most lush thing you've ever seen. And they've had 8 inches of rain the last 5 weeks, and just a couple over the last week or so. And so it's as thick as you can imagine. So they've got that. The greens here run at 15 on the 10 meter. They're the fastest greens that these guys encounter on almost any tour event, let alone any other major. And, you know, the golf course is 7,200 yards long, but it's just so penal in the way it's set up in terms of the canters on these holes. You know, the greens are gigantic, but if you're in the wrong place, it's worse than Augusta. They're more slopey than Augusta. They're faster than Augusta. And so it just, once you combine everything here, it just requires you to be so mentally focused when you play this golf course. You've got to be in the fairway. And if you're not in the fairway, you've got to put your next shot into a position where you're not going to compound that error and make a double bogey or a triple bogey or worse. And that's what really gets to everybody here, is the idea that you can be focused for 15 holes, play great, and you can have one bad hole here and it just screws everything up. And it just seems to be magnified at this golf course more than the others, even on the U.S. Open Road.
What's been going on with Rory? After his Masters win, not been great for him.
No, it's crazy to think about it. I have to admit, I was one who thought, my gosh, you know, he's won the Masters now. He's freed up. He finally got that major. He got the Grand Slam, and he was playing so well. And he was going to go to the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, where he's won 4 PGA Tour events, that he was ready for this huge run. And I think nobody appreciated how much energy it took for him to finally get over that hump at the Masters and to get that win. And he even said it earlier this week. He said, you know, I've always dreamed about, you know, making the putt to win the Masters. I didn't think about what was going to happen afterwards. And I think we all just didn't appreciate how much it took out of him. And you know, he's still trying to find himself. And it's been interesting because he's even said, you know, in the few interviews he has done after the Masters, is his motivation is a little bit suspect. He's accomplished what he wants in his career, and now he's got to reset. And I'm just not sure he's obviously been able to do that yet. He was playing pretty well today, actually, but then he shot a 41 on his back nine, and he kind of essentially shot himself out of this tournament. And it's interesting because I would not have predicted that at all after the Masters. And he's got one more, you know, he's got the Open Championship at Portrush, and that's going to be a very sentimental thing. And perhaps he's just trying to get everything righted to be able to be ready for that event. I don't know, but you're right. It's been really weird to see him perform the way he has over the course of the last month.
Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest, with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. As we talk right now, 13 golfers are technically under par. Is there a score at Oakmont you kind of circle and say, if I post this over 72 holes, I got a shot. Like, what's it going to take in your estimation being there to potentially be in contention to win this thing come Sunday?
Well, I think if they didn't have any more rain and whatnot, an even par score to win the championship would be realistic. I really generally do. This golf course is starting to firm up a little bit, and it's only going to get harder, and it's only going to be more difficult to make these birdies. So the numbers are lower today, and that's because the course is still a little bit soft. The problem is going to be that the forecast over the course of the next 3 days includes some weather, rain, thunderstorms, and if that golf course gets soft again, I think you're going to see scores. Dustin Johnson won here with a 4-under, I think, last time. I think 4-under, 5-under is a realistic number to win then if the golf course is a little bit softer. So it kind of depends on those variables there, but this is not, even for USGA standards lately, this is going to be a more difficult test than they've had in U.S. Opens of late. And I think, traditionalists kind of want to see a little bit more hell going through these guys, a little bit more punishment for these guys. So it's probably not the worst thing in the world.
The defending champ, Bryson DeChambeau, +3 right now after his first round. What were you expecting from him coming in this tournament? And did you expect a little more in round one, or do you think that he could make a push as well heading into the weekend?
I think he can still make the push. This is the one guy here who's got the strength and the length on this golf course to kind of get past some of the issues that other players are going to face. The biggest issue he's got right now is, his iron play. Actually, at both the PGA Championship and the Masters was suspect. He was great off the tee. He was putting pretty well. He was in contention at both those tournaments, but his irons just kind of let him down. Now he's got a new set of irons he put in the bag last week at the Live event, and he's still trying to get adjusted to them. I think he feels like they're going to help him. But obviously today, 3 over, like you said, a reasonable round, but not that great a round. And I'm sure he would have liked to have gotten off to a little bit of a faster start. And now he's got to adjust and see what he can do. But I still think he could be a factor here. Yeah, I think he's just got too much, power and an ability to overtake this golf course. But he's going to be ruining the fact that he didn't do better today.
Ryan, what have you made of Xander Schauffele's year? I know he wasn't fully healthy coming in. He's coming off the incredible 2024, and I know he finished with back-to-back birdies to get to 2 over. So he's certainly probably where he needs to be. But what have you made of his year and the position he's in so far at Oakmont?
Yeah, I think, it was difficult for him. He talked about that earlier this week, the fact that the injury happened, and he's never really had an injury as a professional that set him back the way this one has. And it really delayed the start of the season, his preparation for the season. And so, not surprisingly, I think he's probably, a month or so behind where he would want to be. And if you think about that, okay, then the major season started and he really hasn't gotten ready for it. And he still played pretty well, all things considered, at both the Masters and the PGA Championship. And the 2 over today, like you said, those birdies on the last 2 holes are huge. Now he's only 2 over for the round. He's only 6 back in the lead. This is a tournament that he's played it in this tournament 8 times, and I think he's got 7 top 10 finishes. He's a fantastic player in this event. And so I know he was coming into the event thinking, this is the one I really want to get here. I think I'm ready. I think my game's ready to do it. And he probably wanted to get off to himself again a little bit better start than he's done right now, but he's in a really good position.
Do you have like a dark horse that you're watching right now to get through the weekend? I know it's only day one, and day one, maybe the leaderboard looks a little wonky, but of the players at the top of the leaderboard, any dark horses that you see?
Dark horse, it's a tricky thing. I saw Colin Morikawa earlier today playing really well, and I thought, this is a guy who's a tremendous ball striker. This is a golf course that should suit him. He's not the longest player in the world, but he can get it in the fairways. He can get it on the green, and if he's just got a decent putting game going, he's going to be in contention. He's still somebody that I think right now, dark horse again, he's a 2-time major champion, so it's a little bit hard to peg him like that. But there's a guy who we haven't been talking about a lot lately, and I think he's got the game to win at this golf course. I think he's got to come to, finishing the house today a little bit better than he's doing right now. But ultimately, there's a guy he's 1 over, actually, now that I'm looking at it. So that's not too bad. I think that's a guy who, hey, let's watch and see what happens here in the next 2 days and see if he can get himself up a little higher on that leaderboard.
U.S. Open once again underway at Oakmont in Western Pennsylvania. Ryan Harrington covering it for Golf Digest. Ryan, we appreciate you taking time for us here in San Diego. Be well, and we will connect again soon, all right?
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Did you see the tweet, I think from Justin Thomas, Jim, about, hey, let the media play this course? Because
I did not know.
You didn't see this? It got like 20,000 likes. It was earlier in the week.
I already am liking this tweet.
Yeah.
You need to find it.
The premise being like, you got to know what it's like to play Oakmont, because it's one thing. It's like with these people that cover the NBA finals. You saw with like Halliburton's, like there's all these talking heads like they have any clue what it's like to play in the NBA. And that was kind of the premise. Justin Thomas wasn't saying it that way. He was like, let the media play Oakmont in these conditions right before the U.S. Open. You get a feel for Oakmont playing the U.S. Open conditions.
Yeah, it's really hard, I feel like, to have any criticism for really anybody at the U.S. Open. Like,
because the course is like,
they're like Rory, right? He's not played well after his Masters, win. But he does have a Masters this year. It's something that he was missing. He has the Grand Slam. Bryson, defending champ, it's +3. Okay. I don't know, man. I can't sit here and criticize any of these golfers unless they like are missing 3-foot putts. Yeah. Then it's like, okay.
Yeah, you missed from 8 inches.
Right. Like last year, U.S. Open, Rory against Bryson.
Right.
Rory had a lead. Then he choked it away by missing all those putts late. Then there's warranted criticism.
This is what he said, Justin Thomas. And he was being kind of like fun with it. So much talk about what would X player, X handicap shoot at Oakmont? What would 5 handicap shoot at Oakmont? Why don't we find a way to make it happen? Have a 5, 10, 18, whatever handicap play Monday after the U.S. Open. Back tees, full rules of golf, and see what happens. May have to let a few groups through and allow for 6 or 7 hours, but I think we're all here for it, no? So the Monday after the U.S. Open, he's saying, let people out there and play and see what happens. I mean, you could only imagine what the scores would be, even with guys with 5 handicaps.
Wild.
Oakmont, the hardest course in the world, U.S. Open conditions.
Mm-hmm. And it's just that much more impressive when at a U.S. Open, all of these top golfers are struggling, and then a guy like JJ Spawn today is 4 under par.
Like, no bogeys. And Ryan, we said this earlier. I'm going to say it again. It's the 8th instance in a major at Oakmont of a player not having a bogey in a round.
That's why
there's only been 8 instances of a player not having a bogey in a round at Oakmont, and JJ Spawn is one of those players. Jim's back page coming up on the other side of this break. We're here until 6. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. Hard to believe it's almost 6 p.m., Jim.
You want to do another 4 hours, John? Well, you're in luck.
I'll raise you those 4 hours and make it 5.
Well, you're in luck because we're doing 4 hours tomorrow.
Oh, good. 2 to 6.
Yeah.
Kevin AC back on the show tomorrow. Padres Diamondbacks tomorrow night. What do we decide the pitching matchup was? Stephen Kolek
versus
Nelson.
Ryan Nelson.
Diamondbacks hot. They've won 7 of 10. They're back to 500. Padres begin a 7-game road trip tomorrow night through Phoenix and LA. And we will have you covered tomorrow beginning at 2 p.m. Are you ready for your back page?
I am ready.
All right, let's get to it.
Brent, just say yes or no. Have you seen the movie news of the day?
Yes.
I
John,
haven't.
have you seen?
No.
If it's what I think you're talking about.
Titanic 2?
Nope, but it is a sequel. Do you remember?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Kind of close. One of the actors.
Very close, because the actor in that movie is in this movie. He's reprising his role. Have you ever heard of the movie called Spaceballs?
Yeah, it's like Star Wars.
Yes.
Say my first rodeo.
Today, the very first teaser for Spaceballs 2. Spaceballs 2 in theaters 2027. They did a Star Wars like crawl as their teaser, and it's just chef's kiss.
When did the first one come out?
Like 86,
87.
Wow, 40 years.
That's what the teaser makes fun of. The opening crawl like highlights all the things that have come out since the first one about how there's been 87 Star Wars spinoffs and 17 Jurassic Parks, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, Rick Moranis. Does I say his last name? Moranis.
Yeah, Moranis coming out of retirement.
Yep, to reprise his role as Dark Helmet in Spaceballs 2. This is going to be just awesome.
40 years later.
This is going to be freaking awesome.
Okay.
Dude.
And all the living cast members are back. And
That's
pretty much
amazing.
as far as I know, except for the late great John Candy, the rest of the cast is still alive. Well, is Joan Rivers still alive?
Yeah.
I'll have to go. Okay.
I think so. Mel Brooks was in the movie. He's
How old is Mel Brooks?
98.
Yeah. But
so they got to film it fast.
No, Joan Rivers died in 2014.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, her and John Candy. I didn't think she was alive.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she's alive.
A 98-year-old Mel Brooks will return to play Yogurt in Spaceball 2.
Oh, they might want to film that.
This is a movie. John would be a great writer for Spaceballs 2, because all of your movie references, you'd be like, who is that? Yogurt? Like Yoda? Yeah,
right.
You would be perfect coming up with some of these names.
Get
because
me on that.
Some of these names are like right up your alley, like spider,
like
person, human.
Yeah, exactly. Who else is going to be in it? Like
give me a Star Wars name that
Princess Leia, and she could wear like a layer on.
Princess Leia. Yeah, there you perfect.
But that's pretty much what they did, John. Because instead of Jabba the Hutt, they had Pizza the Hutt.
I like
and,
that.
Stuff like that. So
I like that.
What do you think about this, Brent? Do you like this idea?
Yeah, they've been talking about it for a long time, and as long as Mel Brooks is attached and doing it, then I'm all on board. It'd be totally different if, say, he passed away, when Joan Rivers did, apparently.
Right.
Then it would be different because I don't want a Mel Brooks sequel being made by somebody that isn't Mel Brooks.
Okay. So 2027.
I'll be there opening night.
I think you would actually like it.
I'm sure I would.
Raising Cane's, John, is giving away a free box combo with purchase on June 15th and 16th, just in time for Father's Day weekend. Here's what you need to know. It's a BOGO deal. Buy one, get one. I know what that is now. Buy one box combo, get one free on June 15th and 16th. At participating Raising Cane's location. You have to join the Caniac Club members, and you have to be signed up by June 14th. So you have a couple days to do that. How you redeem your reward is you scan your Caniac Club card or the QR code in the Cane's app at checkout.
Okay.
So there you go there. And finally, Taco Bell is set to release new crispy chicken tacos and burritos nationwide on June 17th. Taco Bell is turning up the heat on its crispy chicken game with the nationwide debut of its all-new crispy chicken tacos and burritos launching June 17th for a limited time. Available in taco, burrito, and standalone strip options, this launch delivers full-on crunch and maximum crave in every bite. With the crispy chicken taco starting at $2.79 and burritos at $5.49.
I'm skeptical about that.
Why is that?
Because
it's chicken.
Well, no, I love chicken, but it's really hard to keep like a chicken strip or something like that crispy inside of a tortilla because it's gonna get kind of soft.
Soggy.
Yes, exactly. So it can be as crispy of a crisp chicken strip as possible, but once it's in there with the other toppings,
maybe they've thought about it.
I'm hoping so.
Maybe they've thought about that. They have their people on that,
and maybe. Just maybe
Taco Bell scientists are on it.
They've tested it out.
They've tested.
Yeah.
They've done Taco Bell testing on the chicken. Can I give you one for John's back page?
Sure. What do you got?
We started watching last night the movie on Netflix, like a documentary on the submersible. Remember the thing that like captivated everyone? It went down towards the Titanic.
It's wild, isn't it?
Did you watch it yet?
No, but I've seen clips of it.
It's pretty interesting. Now we're only halfway through.
Interesting.
Only 2 hours.
Interesting as in
spoiler alert.
I like document. I mean, the spoiler alert is you know what happened.
They're stupid, and what they did was reckless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right. They went down a path they never should have gone down. Essentially,
right.
They probably were asking for trouble.
John, would you go in a submarine that was operated by a PlayStation controller?
Exactly, and they operated with the PlayStation.
Zero chance.
I'm not going in a submarine.
No, not unless it's like.
Maybe if it's like the U.S.'s submarine. Like
yeah.
It's like
something that they've
like
done this a million
Navy.
times.
But I'm saying I'm not going in like a private submarine.
No. That was like.
It wasn't a great idea.
On the surface, that was one of the dumbest ideas ever. We're going to build this submarine that's controlled by a PlayStation controller. Mm-hmm. We're going to go down all the way to the Titanic. And by the way, you're not even going to be able to look out a window because the window
all, like,
is
sealed up.
It's all sealed up.
They had to be like bolted in. The way they closed this thing, they were bolted in.
It's like, what is the point of that?
It was like, I don't even know, like tourism to the Titanic.
But you're not. But tourism involves like you actually having
experiencing
you've seen it and experiencing it. You didn't experience it.
Yeah, you would just have like a camera on the outside. You're right.
And the pressure,
it wasn't great.
No, it was not great.
Didn't work. Spoiler.
And and his wife, they heard it. They heard.
Oh yeah,
like
they knew it was
compacting,
happening.
And they're like, "What was that?"
They knew
that was it.
Yeah, that's what it was. All right, we'll check it out if you want.
Just a way to end the show on a somber note, there, John.
Well, it's an off day,
yeah.
So you might be looking for something to watch tonight. We're back tomorrow too. Kevin Acey will join us. Padres and Diamondbacks will get you ready. Plus, we'll get you ready for Game 4 of the NBA Finals. If you missed anything today, check out sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or TuneIn Radio or Spotify. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Bye-bye.